Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching or listening to us from. This is the Naija FC Podcast, where we bring you our raw, honest, and unfiltered opinions on all the hottest and latest topics in the world of Nigerian football. It is another episode, and boy, do we have a conversation for you. As always, my name is AyoT, and I have with me once again my co-host.
Smith Layi. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you very much. Smilai,
Yeah,
we missed you last week, but we are
yeah,
here again this week. I
yeah,
hope you are ready to give people some serious, this thing.
yeah. The
Because,
topic is quite interesting. I like it.
on this show, it's like good cop, bad cop. Me, I'm good cop. You are bad cop. You just they attack people, they fire people, you know. But me, I like to take it easy and not be too harsh.
Yeah.
But let's start by talking about some of the things that happened this past week quickly before we get into the serious conversations and the things that we know are going to take a lot of our time. Calvin Bassey, Fulham defender, Super Eagles defender Calvin Bassey was named as the player of the season for his club, Fulham. We know that he had a fine season. They reached their best ever points tally in the English Premier League. I think it was 54 points they finished with.
hmm
Is their best ever. Of course, teammate of Alex Iwobi. What do you think about Bassey's season, and do you think this was an award that was well deserved?
Well deserved because I thought it's going between him, Alex Iwobi, and Antonio Robinson. They both had a very good season. And if you look at that wing, Antonio Robinson, Alex Iwobi, and Kevin Bass, from that left center back, and also left wing in quotes when Alex Iwobi plays there. That's the most dangerous, and they created most of the opportunities from that wing. So very good player, a player that is after enduring a very difficult time with Ajax, coming to his own, back with his family. I even heard he bought a house, so he's now more stable in England and doing well. So for me, I think well deserved for him, and he did so well. And even the press too in England, they are full of. I don't know why clubs are not coming in for him, but I know that some clubs already, watching him. So for me, I think he deserves to be really player of the season.
No, I mean, I also feel like it was a very well deserved award. We know that Bassey had a fine season. He has
hmm
settled now into Fulham, into that defensive structure, key
hmm
player for the side, contributed with a couple goals here and there as well. And he's growing into a quality defender. Maybe in a couple years, we might be looking at him departing Fulham and going somewhere bigger, to really step it up. But I
hmm
know that for him, UK boy, London boy. I'm sure that he's very comfy. The vibes with Alex Iwobi, with the rest of their teammates, they're always joking around. They seem to have a good camaraderie around the squad as well. Very, very good season. Hopefully next year they can do better. Try to qualify for Europe, even if it's the Conference League, so that we can see Basi. Because I mean, we saw him before in the Europa League. Did quite well. So it'd be nice to see him in those competitions again, even as well as Alex Iwobi. And yeah, I'm happy for him, and he's currently enjoying himself. I think he's in France as of today. The boy has been everywhere this summer enjoying his holiday. So hopefully he comes back refreshed for the next season and a big year ahead for him. A big year ahead for him. Shout out to Calvin Bassey. Shout out to Calvin Bassey. Okay, let me quickly just acknowledge Emmanuel. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support. Um, People are saying IoT is bad cop. As Silai is the good cop. Come on, guys. Do you guys watch this show? What do you mean I'm bad cop? With all the things that Silai says.
Maybe I'm gonna be saying something this night again. You
Okay.
don't know.
Let's jump quickly. So, Smilai, the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 expanded tournaments, 32 clubs, the best from all the different continents. Unfortunately, no Nigerian club is taking part. We have the East Northern Africans representing us in the tournament, as well as South African club as well. But we do have Nigerian representation, nevertheless. It is a bit of a mixed one because none of our top stars is really playing this tournament. If Osimhen had joined Chelsea now, at least we would have been seeing
Oh,
Osimhen.
yeah,
If
yeah.
or Al Hilal itself, or if Lukman had joined Bayern or Chelsea or Man City or something, none of our top stars. But we have one Super Eagles player in Zaidu Sanusi, and then we also have Onuche Ogbelu, somebody that you've been very big on playing in the tournament. We have three young boys: Joshua Udo, Mohamed Hassan, and Haliru Saki that will be playing for Al Ain. How are you feeling about the Nigerian representation in this Club World Cup?
Well, we are not well represented, but I think we're the few. I think we're like fourth in Africa with the largest contingent. I don't expect those players you mentioned to play a key role, except Onushi Ogelo for Esperance de Tunis. This Sanusi, with due respect, I don't think he will play regularly for Porto. You know, because Porto played a 3-5-2 formation, maybe a 3-4-3 formation, and he cannot fit in as a left center back. He can also play as a left wing back because of his final balls. It's okay. So I don't think he's going to play a key role for Porto. But for Gunyene Ogushi Ogelu, I'm really actually want big up for him. I think I'll be staying up slightly, late this evening to watch him at 2 a.m., because for me, I think he's a player that reminds me of John Mikel Obi from Temu. I'm not saying from
He's here from table.
yeah, no, because of he's developed well. His press assistance, he has been linked to different European clubs too. So I want to see what he's made up now. He proved himself well in Africa. They played in the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League. They play probably, I think, what was it? Was in the final of the uh, CAF Youth League or so? So no, CAF League. So for me, I think he's a player that we have to look forward to. For another player too is Hilal Usaki, former Nigerian 20 international. He was the teammate of Onishi Ogelu, under Coach Damboso. In case you're abusing Damboso, he gets to play for Club World Cup. In case you're abusing him. So they call him the Nigerian Messi because he's left foot dribbles and everything. I'm not sure he's going to start, but let's see what he can bring in case he's called upon. So for me, just big on like Onishi Ogelu and Hilal Usaki.
I mean, the reality of it is that when we look at the Alain trio, Ali
Mm-hmm.
Rusaki is the one that is probably going to play the most. That's
Mm-hmm.
if the other people even get a chance to play at all.
Yes.
Joshua Udo this season was playing for Alain's reserve team. So
Yes.
he wasn't really even a first team player for them. But because I think the Club World Cup allows 35 players, they
Mm-hmm.
included him in the squad. It's a good experience for him. Travel to America, enjoy the vibes, and get to enjoy, a FIFA organized tournament. Because I've interviewed a number of players, and they always tell me that a FIFA tournament is very different from even UEFA or CAF or other tournaments. A FIFA tournament just has a different level of organization and vibe to it. So it will be a good experience for the young boy. The goalkeeper as well, Hassan Mohammed, 18 years old, was the second choice throughout this season. But going into this tournament, they have now signed Rui Patricio, who
Mm-hmm.
we know that in his prime was a very good goalkeeper. So he's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to Abba Hassan is now probably going to be third choice
Okay. Uh-huh.
going into this tournament. So what are the odds of him getting on the field? Very unlikely. So real one Saki is the one that at least in the season played a couple games, got some goals, got one or two assists, created some chances for them. So if any of the three will get on the field a lot, it's going to be Saki. Onuchi Ogbelu, who yeah, you've been big on throughout this season. Played for Nigeria at the under 20 AFCON. Unfortunately, did not go to the under 20 World Cup. Maybe that's why he's not in Europe like some of his other
Mm-hmm.
teammates.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been steady balling for Esperance de Tunis. He scored the goal that won them the Tunisian Cup. He did well for them. Unfortunately, they got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the CAF Champions League. But
Tell me.
was it semis? Knockouts. I think it was
Okay,
quarter
yes. What are quarters?
against Mamelodi Sundowns. Yeah,
Donuts, yes,
yeah.
quarter.
But he had a good season, and a lot of people have been tipping him as one for the future. A lot of people have been tipping him for a future Super Eagles call up.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to watch him, and I think he's going to be a key player for Esperance de Tunis
Uh-huh.
in this tournament. And then just to wrap up on Zaidu Sanusi, like you said, Sanusi is going to be a substitute option. He's probably not going to get that many minutes. They already played their first game. He was an unused substitute. It
Yeah.
was a disappointing draw, in my opinion, because Porto, a team that often plays in the Champions League, I would have expected them to be able to at least score a goal against Palmeiras side. But I mean, after a
Palmeiras said they
long
won the game.
exactly. I was watching my boy Esteval, trying to do one or two things. He was player of the match. I'm hoping that Zedu can at least get some minutes. Maybe if they had won the first game now, you could have said, okay, maybe the third game of the group stage, they can rotate their squad a little bit and then he'll get
Mm-hmm.
the chance. But considering the fact that they drew, I don't know how that rotation is going to come about. My only prayer for this Club World Cup, not this year, but maybe in the next edition in 4 years' time, if we can see Remo Stars, if we can see Eyimba, if we can see Ikorodu City, because for drawing a match, you get $1 million. Just for participating in the tournament, you end up getting like 10 million. Imagine a Nigerian club. I just pray is a private club that
Mm-hmm.
qualifies because
Don't praise Enyimba.
because if a government run club should come and collect 10 million prize money, are we going to see that 10 million go back into the club?
No.
That's the big question. Even for the private clubs, to be honest, if they make 10 million, the owner will probably pocket five and then say, okay, what
But
can I
but
do with the rest of the five? But at
but
least you will
yeah,
see some investment.
yeah.
What did you want to say, Bilal?
Yeah. But you see, for example, now Remo now, they made some transfer. You see the owner reinvest the money. They have like, and that they have training pitch. They have good facility. They innovate. The gym is working well. You can see where the money is going to. Enyimba played in the CAF Super League. I think they gave them 700,000 euros.
Mm.
Enyimba doesn't have any home grant, so it should not go to Enyimba. In fact, it should even relegate. I'm just joking. No,
I
I want.
dropped
I
to
want. No,
NNL.
no, no. I just want. I want proper, quality run clubs to progress. That's my take. It's
No,
not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let them not go and embarrass Nigeria on the
On the
global
thing.
stage.
Yeah.
Because look at Al Ahly in their opening game against
Against
Inter
Inter
Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
They, if not for just that lack of clinical finishing, they
Mm-hmm.
could have beaten Inter Miami. But they drew the match, and you saw that they might not be the best team in the world because Inter Miami is not a very strong team either, but
Mm-hmm.
they held their own. They did not go
Yeah.
and embarrass
Yeah.
themselves.
Themselves.
I'm expecting similar from Esperance de Tunis. Even if they don't win the game, I'm expecting them to go and hold their
Mm.
own and still show that they have some quality.
Yeah.
Because if the African teams just go there and get blown out the water, it will only add to the disrespect that people often show to Africa in
Mm-hmm.
terms of there's no quality in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The teams are not that good. Tournaments are not that good. They should
Mm-hmm.
not give them like what they did to Auckland FC. Losing
No,
10.
no. There will no Auckland. There will
You
be no Auckland. I was expecting Setu Sundance not to really perform, but because they are playing at home, so they
know.
did so well. Yeah.
Mm. Let's see, Sha. 4 years for the next Club World Cup. I think if the next four winners of CAF Champions League will probably qualify.
Yeah.
So if we can get one of our
I think
Nigerian,
Pyramid is going to be there this year, this time around.
because they just won this last one, Abi.
Yeah, yeah, against Sundance.
By then, our Nigerian will probably not be in pyramids anymore. But
No, no, it's not. It's not even Pyramid again.
oh, he already left.
Yeah.
Where did he go to?
It's not. He said that. I think it's a 1 year deal or so.
Oh, okay, it was okay. Okay, we'll see. But that's that on the Club World Cup. Please, guys, watch our Nigerian players: FC Porto, Esperance de Tunis, and Al Ain, and hopefully one of them can enter knockout rounds at least. At
Mm-hmm.
least. Okay. That is that on the Club World Cup. Let us move on to some transfer talk. We'll talk about one or two confirmed transfers. We'll also talk about some rumors. The first one, officially, we have heard it has been announced that Chiamaka Nnadozie, Super Falcons goalkeeper, will be departing Paris FC,
Mm-hmm.
or she has already departed. I don't know which one. I don't know what date exactly her contract ends, but she's leaving the club. She's moving on to hopefully greener pastures. Chiamaka Nnadozie has established herself as one of the best goalkeepers in the world over the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Undoubtedly, one of the best goalkeepers in France. She helped Paris FC to win their first ever trophy, defeating PSG and saving penalties in that Coupe de France final. And she's leaving the club with her head held high. She's leaving with a good reputation. They love her, they appreciate her, but it is time for her to go to somewhere where she can do bigger things. She can get more visibility. I think that playing in Paris over the past few years, in terms of just the noise, the PR, it has not really been there for her. Because whenever they talk about some of the world's best goalkeepers, her name is usually missing, and I'm wondering that is everybody blind? Can't they see what she's doing for Nigeria? Can't they see what she's doing for her club? Um, but I mean, we're now hearing that she might be moving to England in the WSL. The team that has been rumored the most has been Everton. Smilai, what are your thoughts on Chiamaka Nnadozie and this potential move to Everton that we're hearing about?
For me, I don't know how they allow Chiamaka to run a contract, in Paris FC. I think she's one of their most prized assets. I think they would have looked for a way to get him a transfer fee, for her. But the problem is, you have said it before that if you play football, they don't play transfer. It's okay. They rather assign you on the free transfer. So for me, I'm happy that she's trying to explore actually what new pastures. And let's see what will happen. Everton is not a bad club. It's like this mid. They call it like a yo-yo club. They are not here or there, but Chamaka can. Paris was nowhere to when Chiamaka was there, but they went to the Champions League. When Chiamaka actually was man the goal for them. So for me, I think her going to England, I'm going to be able to watch her more and actually want support her too to the best of her ability. I'm happy for her that she actually will live in France. And if Everton is interested, she can actually want to join and play for Everton. Then if she performs with Everton, she can progress. Maybe probably join Arsenal or join Chelsea or join this thing or join all these big teams in England. So for me, I think England is where she can actually make the box. Yeah, muted.
Sorry about that. A slight technical issue. But I think if she's not going to England, then she probably has to find her way to the USA,
Yes, yeah.
or Saudi last
Mm-hmm.
if you want to go and make money. So I'm happy for her. As far as why they let her run out the contract, it's just the way it works in women's football. Unless you are like a superstar, most teams will not pay a transfer fee for you. In fact, the only teams that of recent have been paying transfer fees have been the American clubs,
Mm-hmm.
signing players for maybe 100K, 200K, things like that. Women's football is not yet at the stage of money when it comes to men's football. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that Paris FC, her salary at Paris FC has not been great by any means. So it's a time for her to go and explore her options and for her to get better for herself and also better for her football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for her. I like Chiamaka a lot. Humble girl, just focused on doing her job, focused on being the best football player that she can be. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, whether it's Everton or it's another club, hopefully it's somewhere that works very well for her. At least we know if she goes to Everton, she's going to be in the company of Tony Payne. So she's
Yeah.
going to have her fellow Super Falcon with her. I would I would have said, oh, maybe if she's going to England, she can try to sign for one of the bigger teams because Everton are kind of like a bottom half um team, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not the strongest team. Let me see. Yeah, they finished eighth out of 12. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
bottom half. But we know that Chelsea already have that position covered. Arsenal do, Man U do, City do. So it's only if she's joining like a Brighton, Aston Villa, Liverpool, that teams that are ahead of Everton. But maybe she's the one that will be able to go to Everton and elevate them if they have more security in their goal. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. I wish her all the best, Chiamaka. We'll be watching you. We'll be supporting you. But for before that time comes, we're looking forward to the WAFCON next month. And seeing what she can do.
Yeah.
Very very underrated goalkeeper in global standards, as far as I'm concerned. But we know what she can do as per Nigerians that we are. Let us talk about another transfer rumor that we are waiting to see completed, but the talks have been hot, and it might only be a matter of time before we get an official confirmation. Super Eagle striker Cyril Kolawole Desas, is reportedly set to join AEK Athens in Greece. We know that despite the season that Desas had for Rangers FC, a lot of Rangers fans, a lot of Rangers legends, people that have been in the mix, have been critical of his performance, have been critical of his clinical or lack of clinical finishing and things like that. And it looks like Desas might be on the move. Also, his age is not on his side anymore, so maybe they might be looking at getting younger options in their attack. AEK Athens finished fourth in the Greek Super League. They are playing Conference League qualifiers. Smilai, do you think this would be a good step for Desas at this stage in his career, and also looking at his potential Super Eagles future? What are your thoughts?
You know, I don't know what Rangers want, because before Smith has actually joined them, who was the player that was scoring those goals for them? I think it was Ryan Kent. Maybe Ryan Kent that was scoring those goals for them. But it's just a guy that he will be one of the best player in Rangers, in my own opinion, because despite missing the opportunity, he scored a lot of goals too for them. So for me, I think he should be living there at zero. And for him to move um, to Greece, in my opinion, I think it's a step down. Even those that are in Greece, we are praying for them to leave Greece. For you now move to Greece, I think it will not really help his what's it called, his Super Eagle, sports. Why can't just move on La Liga? And here that Celta Vigo are interested, in Serie D. Why not try La Liga? Why not try Paris FC? Is it Paris? Which one is Simon joining? Is it Paris? So why can't you try that? Why can't you try some maybe nearly promoted side in England too, or Germany? Why Greece? Greece is is not competitive. So in my opinion, for me, I think it's a step down for him, and I hope that the move does not materialize,
Mm.
except there's a big money involved there.
Mm. I mean, when it comes to these transfers, we only know what we see in the news, but the number of reasons why players make certain transfers. It could
Mm-hmm,
be a time for him to, at this age, I think that's is what, 31, 32. It could
mm-hmm,
be a time for him to just say, okay, if I'm going to get paid well, I'm going to live in Athens. Athens is a beautiful city. You
yeah.
know, maybe he just wants to go and relax a little bit. Who knows? Maybe the way Rangers have treated him, he has just not liked it, and he's just taking whatever option that he gets. I hear you on Celta Vigo. Of course, Celta Vigo is a club that will put him more in the eyes of people. Is a league
Mm-hmm,
that people are going to watch a
yeah.
lot more. But he can also be looking at it that, okay, if I go to Celta Vigo, am I really going to be competing? Is there any potential for me to win anything?
Mm-hmm,
Versus just playing and saying, okay, I'm playing in La Liga, I'm playing against top players, but why very even though Celta Vigo qualified for the Europa League, but they are quote unquote a mid-table La
mm-hmm,
Liga team. So he might be saying, at least if I go to Athens, I can compete for the title, I can compete for the trophy. Who knows exactly what is the mindset behind it. But it's not official yet, so anything can still change. Anything
mm-hmm.
can still change. Somebody said he just got married, so maybe he's also, my wife and I, let's go and enjoy a nice city. There's different factors that come into the
Mm-hmm.
transfer decisions. But let's wait until it's official and then we can speak more about it. Um, Cyril Dessa's good player, good player. I like him. I think that his opportunities have been very limited in the Super Eagles, less than he has deserved.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just going to be hard to compare now and say, oh, he's scoring goals in AEK
This.
Athens, so that means that he's better than this other player or things like that. But let's wait and see what happens between now and the end of the transfer window. Many things, this deal can still fall through. He can join another team. Who knows what exactly is going to happen? But we're wishing him all the very best. We're wishing him all the very best. A quick message here, super chat. Adedoton says, I'm not interested in the Club World Cup because the teams that are participating were not picked on merit. I mean, some people feel like that, but the criteria for qualification was well laid out in terms of the recent champions of the different contender competitions based on the number of slots available for each
Mm-hmm.
continent. I don't know if he's somehow thinking that AC Milan should have been in the tournament. I don't know why he thinks that, but the stipulations, the criteria for qualification were all laid out. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily think it wasn't based on merit. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows now that going forward, if you want to qualify, you just have to win your continental competition. So PSG will be in the next one, as well as anybody else that wins,
Yeah.
and then coefficients in UEFA, and then same for Africa.
But I don't know how do we qualify though.
It's coefficients
Okay, okay, okay.
because they use, because Europe has too many slots.
Uh-huh.
So they take the last four champions, and then they take the next five in terms of coefficient for
Yeah.
Europe. So that's how it is.
Shout out to footballer and Nigeria Football Weekly.
Nigeria Football Weekly. Mm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Olu, my guy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, let us move forward quickly in the conversation. Ms. Adidotun, go and read the criteria. Yeah, you are complaining too much because your team is not there. Go and read it. Okay, let us move on. Young Nigerian player on the move. Another player has left Botev Plovdiv in Australia, and this time he has joined Sheffield United. Ehije Ukaki has joined Sheffield United on a deal until 2028. This season, he scored 7 goals and made 1 assist for Botev Plovdiv in the Bulgarian league. And he has joined Sheffield, a team that is going to be competing in the AFL Championship next season. I think they were very close to getting promoted, but they didn't quite get it. Smilai, what are your thoughts on this move? Nigerian player to the championship. We've seen another player join Sunderland last year, and a few other championship moves that we had from Nigerian players. Do you think this is a good step for him? Do you think that playing in the championship is better than playing in the Bulgarian league? How do you see this for his development and for potentially, growing into a quality player in the future?
Yeah, I read through when you sent me this thing. I read about the rumor, but I didn't know that they have already finalized the deal. So I went through, I researched some few things about the guy. So they signed him through their extensive scouting network. I'm hearing that they did AI, they use artificial intelligence, to see exactly, his potential and everything. So, well, congratulations to him. He's 20 years of age. You know, so he can't really play any under age for Nigerian now because we don't have any under 23 team. Good for him. So I think the program is for him to start from the youth team in Sheffield United. Then you can see monitor his progress. This season. So for me, I expect him to do well. It's a platform he can actually will succeed. We also see Nigerian players move from Antwerp to Southampton last summer, last window. We saw Ahmed Abdullahi moved from Gent to Sunderland. I mean,
Even this same Sheffield United, they signed Unwachukwu in February.
yeah, in Washington in February. So we'll be seeing these moves now, coming. I hope that because to be honest with you, that put a plug if I will just say this on my personal story. Somebody don't give me the plug because this there's a community club in Butler Plug that it's a community club and they're investing. Maybe probably maybe they do something right too, so that they can get some players in and sell them at a decent what price, and maybe they go a bit sell them for them. So for me, I'm happy that he's a good right winger. He can score goals. Let's see how the boy develops in England. England the different ball game mentality, different football education. Let's see exactly how he develops. So, but we go be looking out for him. But 20 years old is massive, so he doesn't have any time.
He's already at an age where his mates have broken into the first team and are on
Yes,
the step up. He
yeah.
was playing in Bulgaria, but obviously we know that Bulgaria is not the most reputable league in the world.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
know how easy or how quick he's going to break into Sheffield United's first team, but I
Hmm.
hope that it does happen for him. You know, I just don't want him to, after playing competitive football at the first team level for the past 2 years, to
Hmm.
now go and spend a whole season on, in under 21s or in reserve, things like that. I hope he really is able to get an opportunity. He's a good young player, he scores a few goals. He's not the most creative, but that's something that he can improve on. And a lot of these championship teams now, they are using a lot of data analytics, XG, XA, all these things to really look at signings, and they are really trying to extend their scouting networks to be able to find the best young talent around the world. And just for the fact that the data, the numbers, the statistics, the analytics are showing him to be one of the finest young talents in that part of Europe. I think it's a plus and it's a nod that he should be happy about. It's now time for him to really step it up. It's time for him to show himself. If Sheffield United are able to get promoted in 1 or 2 seasons, hey, he might just find himself playing in the English Premier League, and from there, that can be a route to fame, to Super Eagles, and to a lot of success in the future. So I'm really happy for him. I think it's a decent move. What can make it a good move or a bad move would only depend on how he performs after getting there. But just on paper, it's something that I'm happy about, and I hope that he does very well at the club. Shout out to Ehije Ukaki.
Ukaki.
Okay, moving forward quickly, we also have this time a Super Eagles player, an official transfer. Jordan Torunarigha has joined Hamburger SV, newly promoted side in the German Bundesliga. Of course, Torunarigha himself has German roots, has played a couple games for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This past season was playing for KA Ghent in Belgium, and he is now taking this step to the German Bundesliga, hoping to set his mark, hoping to do well in a European top five league, and maybe hoping to regain his position in the Super Eagles squad ahead of the AFCON in December or ahead of the World Cup qualifiers in September. Smilai, how do you feel about this transfer, Torunariga to Hamburger?
Good. Towards the end of last season, he wasn't even playing very well for Gent, for KLC Gent. I think his mind was no longer with KLC Gent again. So he wanted to leave. But I'm happy that he's back home now because that is his home. He played for Atta Berlin, for so many years before he moved to KLC Gent. He was part of their youth system in Atta Berlin, and he played very well too for Germany in under age competition. So I think the reason why he's going back to that club is because his former German under 21 coach is the coach of Hamburger.
Mm.
So he's a guy that knows him very well. So and the guy bought him for I think it's 1 year or so just to assure what to work with him. So for
Is
me,
in case they get relegated, so that I can leave.
yeah, he can live to work with him. So it's a guy that if he's fully fit, I can tell you Jordan is really handful. If it's I forget about the film trick of Charles again. That was not really Jordan.
Mm.
I just pray he could gain his Atabadin form back under this manager. He's really, really handful. And it's going to give Kevin Bassey a run for his money.
Hmm. You think he can give Calvin Bassey a run
Yeah.
for his money?
Yeah. Atabalin's Jonathan Torunarigha will give Kevin Bassey a run
But
for his
after Berlin was 2020, 2021. That's a while ago.
Yeah, it's a while ago, but the issue is that the oral injury really affected him. So I think
Mm.
majority of what happened to Jordan is just his psyche. When he went to the Olympics was it in Tokyo? It was out of shape. You know, and it's just for him to get that psyche, but I can deliver. He was playing left back now. Sometimes to tell you he can go back and forth. So it's very very good. We hope that he can come back. If he comes back, regain his form. It's never too late now. It's not as if. He went to get a Vidavit for his age. He can still do well. His age is still on his side. So for me, I think it can be very good.
Mm. I mean, on paper, I like the move. Moving to one of Europe's top five leagues is always a good thing as far as our Nigerian players are concerned. I think if he wants to become a part of the Super Eagles again, rather, he definitely needs to be playing at a high enough level. Even though, to be fair, we're seeing under 21 players get called up, so maybe your level doesn't matter as much anymore. But I'm happy that he's going to be playing in Europe's top five leagues. I also think that he's a good defender. I watched him play this season against Arokodare a couple times, and do a good job against Tolu. Even though there were moments where Tolu might have got the better of him because Tolu,
Anybody can do a
Tolu
good
is
job.
Tolu is stronger, but he did a good job against Tolu a number of times. Like you mentioned, towards the end of the season, to be fair, Ghent as a whole, they were really not playing for anything. They knew that they couldn't win the league, and they were playing against the best teams, Ghent, Sengiloa, Anderlecht for the last. You know how they do it in Belgium when they go into their playoffs. They were not playing for anything, and they were playing against the strongest sides in the league. So he had a few games that were bad, but I thought he did well throughout the course of the season in general. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in Germany. Again, like you mentioned, it is his home. He has played in Germany before for a lot, majority of his career, played in the Bundesliga as well. So the league itself is not new to him. For me, I don't think he's great yet. I think he has the potential to be good. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with you straight away and say he can give Bassey a run for his
No,
money
if he gets his
because
form of I think that evil is a very big if.
Mm. But because Bassey is doing very well at the moment. But I
Yeah,
think he's someone that can compete for sure.
yeah.
He's someone that can compete. I think he's better than Benjamin Frederick. I think he's better than Igor Ogu. So it's just a matter of him settling into the team, getting opportunities, and taking the most of his opportunities, both for his club and for country. if it does come around. So we wish him all the best. We'll look forward to that one, and I think their season starts in 60 days
Yeah.
in DFB Pokal. So we look
Mm-hmm.
forward to seeing what he can do. Moving on quickly, let us talk about another Nigerian player, another Super Eagles player. This one is a transfer rumor. This season was not the best for him, unfortunately. He didn't have the best of times playing for Mr. Adedotun's club, AC Milan. And there is a large, chance that he's going to be on the move this summer. And we're hearing that Spanish La Liga side Real Betis are hot on his heels and are trying to sign him as a potential replacement for Anthony, who will be returning to Manchester United after the completion of his loan spell. Samuel Chukwueze to Real Betis. Smilai, this is a player that has done it in the La Liga before, played for Villarreal. That's where he made his name. That's where people really saw him as this brilliant talent. And then he made the move that was supposed to be the groundbreaking, career changing, career defining move for him to AC Milan. Things have not quite worked out as we would have hoped. Do you think that a move back to the La Liga, playing for Real Betis, playing in the Europa League as well, do you think that that's a move that can revive the career of Samuel Chukwueze?
Again, I think you know, in all, what Samuel Chukwueze needs is a coach that believes in him, and he also needs to be consistent. Just like a coach like Eric Chelle. No matter if you put gun on Eric Chelle's knife or neck, he will still play Samuel Chukwueze because he believes in Samuel Chukwueze. So he needs a coach like Una Emery, like Samuel Chukwueze, those that believes in his raw ability. So for
Mm,
me, I think a move away from AC Milan would benefit him more because AC Milan team is not a team. It's a team that needs surgical, I don't know how to operation, surgical operation
mm,
for them to thrive. They were horrible last season. I don't know where they need to recruit. I know that they're getting a new manager. So it's just a team that, it cannot thrive there now. So I just think that he should move to either the Premier League or Real Betis. I'm hearing that Fulham, they actually were interested in him. He tried to sign him in January, but that one did not materialize. But I still think that the you know the Nigerian and Premier League now, with the joy of want to play in the Premier League, I think Chigoze will snub Real Betis
mm,
for what's it called, for Fulham.
mm. But going to Premier League, I mean, is he going to play ahead of Wilson? Is he going to play ahead of Traore? Is he going to play ahead of Iwobi? It's tough. I don't really know if he's going to get his chance like that if
Yeah,
he moves to the Premier League. So
yeah,
Real Betis, I think Real Betis is a good club.
yeah,
Obviously, they are not really going to win the La Liga, but hey, they got to the Conference League final. Who knows? They can get far in the Europa League next season. I'm playing
yeah,
against familiar faces in the Spanish La Liga. We know that La Liga, they have the powerhouses in the Barcelona and Real Madrid and maybe Atletico, but the
yeah,
rest of the teams, those are teams that Chukwueze will be licking his lips going up against some of those fullbacks, knowing that he
yeah,
can do a good job against them. And he's playing against all the Girona, Alaves, Espanyol,
yeah,
which is Getafe. He knows that he can really do something. So it's going
yeah,
to be an interesting one. I think obviously Real Betis is not as big a club
yeah,
as AC Milan,
yeah,
but for his personal development, for his career, the unfortunate reality, people don't like accepting this sometimes, but not everybody is supposed to be a superstar.
mm-hmm.
Not everybody is supposed to be Victor Osimhen.
Uh-huh,
Not everybody is supposed to be
uh-huh,
Ademola Lookman. You
uh-huh,
know, it's the same way in this life. Not everybody is going to be rich. Not everybody is
yeah,
going to be successful. It's a harsh reality to face sometimes, but it is the
uh-huh,
reality of life. And maybe Chukwueze is just not somebody that is as talented as he is. Maybe he's just not going to be that superstar like his friend Victor Osimhen.
yeah,
But it does not mean that he cannot still have a steady, long career as a good player.
mm-hmm.
Some people have 20 years playing at a good level, but they are never revered as superstar or anything like that. But they still have a very, very good career. So maybe that's what Chukwueze needs. Go back to Real Betis, settle down there, do well for them, score some goals, get some plaudits here and there. But you don't have to be playing in the limelight. You don't have to be playing under the spotlight. Because when the spotlight is bright, sometimes he does not shine under the lights. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if this move does materialize, if this move does come around it will be a good step for him to try to bring himself back up. But even if he joins another team, or if he stays at AC Milan, we'll still be supporting him and we'll still be wishing him all the very best. So
Yeah.
yeah, Samuel Chukwueze sending love, sending support to you. We have a super chat from TC Gogo. He says, "Pray for Benway." Yes, the things that are happening in Nigeria. I always like to not talk about Nigeria's issues, but I know that this is a subject that a lot of people are talking about now. It's man, our country. God help us. We have so many things that are wrong, so many things that are not going right. Lives being lost, but yeah. TC Gogo, thanks for that. Thank you. Okay, let us keep the conversation going. We've spoken about all those other transfers, spoken about those other players. Now let's get into the man that Nigerians seemingly cannot stop talking about for different reasons. Maybe it's because he gets us the views. Maybe it's because everybody is so invested in him because we love him so much, so we can't stop talking about him. But he's always in the news. This transfer saga is never ending. This is the longest transfer saga that I've seen for for any Nigerian player. Where for multiple windows, we don't know what is going to happen. We keep talking about it. We hear so many different things, and then this summer things have kind of even spiraled into other directions that we didn't necessarily think that they were going to spiral into. But Smilai, let me just quickly get your opinion because you were not here last week. We heard that Victor Osimhen officially rejected Al Hilal. And then since that time, there have been so many different conversations again. Quick one. Do you think it was a good decision for him to reject Al Hilal?
Yeah. Why rush him? Why rush him for the Club World Cup? So go and sign contract, take him to the Club World Cup, then we now regret at the Club World Cup that why can't he just wait slightly, and this is life. The guy just had a very good season in Ghana. I'm not sure, but I think he won the best player in the league. Maybe probably won the Golden Boot too for Galatasaray. He won the league with them and also the cup double. Come on, it's not as if he just came from a relegation club or he had a very bad season.
Mm,
So the guy needs to relax himself. He needs to think about what he wants to do. So the issue of Alali giving him ultimatum to accept or reject and things like that, and that is even disrespectful for him. Let the guy decide where he actually wants to go. So for me, I like the way he rejected it because you can't just rush him. He's a young man with family. So he should go to Alali without consulting with his family and to go and took them somewhere and be doing that John Mikel will be going flying, from China or our Skipo. Tomorrow is in Saudi, the next day is in London. You want planning. You want to plan. You're a family man. So for me, I'm happy you get it. And secondly, now, as I'm talking to you now, somebody just sends me a message that David Nunes is Napoli are negotiating with them with David Nunes, which might actually would have implication on the Victor Osimhen's future.
hmm,
Is it okay? So there's a lot of twists and turns to this. For me, I'm happy you get it. Money is not everything.
Okay,
So I'm
money
happy.
money is not everything, and
Yeah.
this money situation has sparked so many conversations on social media. Some people think Osimhen should reduce his wages. Some people think he should not reduce his wages. Some people think he should renegotiate in a different way. And one of our sports journalists, media personalities in Nigeria, spoke on his channel about this whole Osimhen situation, and his comments raised a lot of criticism. Some people supported him, some people were insulting him. He made a number of comments that I want us to touch on today. But let us start with the one about Osimhen's wage situation. In case anybody does not know what I'm talking about Elegbete. He spoke for about 20 minutes on Osimhen's situation. So I'm going to play a clip for you and then we'll talk about what he says in the clip.
Also point out something that people are overlooking. He's 27. If you sign him on a 5 years contract, based on what is currently existing in the business of football, 5 years from now he will be 32. There's no resale value for him. And then if you look at what he's asking, 400,000 a week gross. If you put it in a 5 years contract plus bonus and everything, the total package, the transfer fee to Napoli with between 75 and 80 million, everything put together would arrive at 400 million. Is Osimhen worth 400 million in a 5 years deal right now? That's really the question to ask. When somebody tell me that, oh, but look at what Mo Salah is earning. When did they sign Mo Salah? About 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. When they signed him, when they first signed Mo Salah, he was earning 70,000. Now he's grown up to this. There's no transfer fee, no big bonuses, everything arrive here. But you're going to pay all this one and put bonuses, and in a 5 years time you put if 300 million. Let's look at clubs where those kind of deals have destroyed. One was Manchester United. They were beginning to regroup. They made the mistake of signing Alexis Sanchez and gave him that contract of £500,000 a week. And every other person who's playing, who just won the Europa with them, like this guy that came from Arsenal because they won the FA Cup, that's how they destroyed that team. And then they had to rebuild again. They're still rebuilding till now.
Okay. So Smilai, he spoke about a few things,
Mm-hmm.
but I want us to touch it little by little. So the first question that he asked is Osimhen worth 400 million? I will just say his calculation was a little bit off. It
You
will
need to
come
go and
to
dig for
about
why.
300 million based on okay transfer fees, salaries, everything. He used estimating a 5 year contract. So I'll switch the question and say me like on a 5 year deal, do you think Victor Osimhen is worth 300 million?
See, it depends on the negotiation. Though for one, yeah, I referenced him for issue of debates
So
or
point out
conversation,
something that people
issue of debate or conversation. But for me, I don't like to take him that serious. In my own opinion, I think one calculation, he got it wrong. I don't think it's 400. It's between like about 300 million or so. But in that five, you mentioned asked the question about 5 years. So the issue is this, I don't think a club will give him 5 years directly. Now, I think they might want to give him four, 4 or 3. I don't think so. But it's also about negotiation. There's some few things you will negotiate. It's not everything about wage. IoT, you are into branding, you are into all these things. There's some things that you put in your clause, in your contract, that can even open financial doors, for you. That is going to be like a trade-off, though you are getting less wage, but in some areas, the whole thing don't balance up together. I know about that, but I don't know who is negotiating with who is negotiating for Victor. So about Victor's words, let me tell you something. Victor will guarantee you goals. See, a prophet does not have prestige in his homeland. That's why most of the opposition that Victor gets is from his home. Someone like Rovena, someone like Wayne Rooney, someone like people are big ups on Mikel, also big ups on what on Osimhen. That clubs should go for him. So for me, I think is what the amount he thinks is demanding. So it's those that are the trouble your case that the one that thinks that it's not worth because nobody the boy will self pay water. You know what damn? No. Victor will guarantee you goals. Okay, how many goals is Jackson giving you? How many goals is some? We have to just look at it very well. In a very structured team, Victor will give you goals. So for me, and goals is what win games. IoT. Goals is what win games. If you don't score goals, you don't win games. And Victor will score goals for you. So in my opinion, I think it's worth it. I
Hmm,
think it's worth it.
hmm. Okay. Another thing that he spoke about was ruining the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
In the implication that if you bring Victor Osimhen in on a high salary, then other players will start to look at that and believe that they have been there longer. They are also quality players. They also deserve these high salaries. Do you agree with that sentiment that Victor coming in at 350 something, a week can ruin the locker room of the team that he's joining?
It depends on the team. If someone like Victor is coming to Man U, we could be minor with thinking that I want to be getting the same amount like Victor. It depends on the way you put it. There's the way you plan all these things that you don't make it so obvious that Victor is way ahead of them. And it depends on what you also bring on the pitch. So for me, about it depends on you have to make sure that Victor land on like a soft ground. Oh, Victor is coming this and you explain to them. It's not as if a player just put a player on there and the players don't know exactly what is going on, what happens, things just change. Like when they brought in this guy, look the Frank the Young, on a big salary there.
Mm.
So for me, I just think that it can ruin the dressing room. Don't quote me in this thing, but I think that if the dressing room will get ruined, I think the coach must be able to do something to avoid that, and the management, in my own opinion. Yeah.
No, I think I would agree with what you're saying. It can definitely affect the dressing room.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
something that we cannot deny.
Mm-hmm.
These players, as much as they are celebrities, they are human beings at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember my former workplace. I remember when I was working the job, I knew how much everybody in the company was making because of my role in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time they hired one person, and I saw how much they paid the person, and immediately I said, "Eh, this person is reporting to me.
Mm-hmm.
How can they be collecting more money than me?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, I know that in a football team, in terms of players, the hierarchy doesn't work the same way. But immediately they hired this person, and I said, "How can somebody that is reporting to me
Mm-hmm.
be collecting more money than me?" Within 2 weeks, I went to my Oga and I said, "Guy, you need to increase my salary." And this is like, I was not thinking about increasing my salary before. I was fine with the salary. But the moment I saw that they hired somebody that was earning more than me and was in a junior position, I went and I said, "I need an increase."
Uh-huh.
So they are human beings at the end of the day. If he joins a team like a Chelsea, for example, and they put Victor on three something, there is nothing that is stopping a Cole Palmer and saying, "Huh? I single-handedly kept this club afloat for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've not even seen up to this. And this boy is just coming new. You are not even sure if he's going to ball up to me, oh, and you're
Mm-hmm.
giving him this." So I understand that. But like you also mentioned, me, like the club needs to find a soft landing for him. They need to find a way to make sure that everybody is pleased.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Victor himself, I know that a lot of people don't like to hear this, but Victor himself needs to understand the situation of most clubs right now. I think, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
we keep hearing that these Premier League clubs cannot afford to pay that, cannot afford to pay that. Even the biggest one cannot afford to pay that. With all the FFP, PSR, and all these other financial rules that are now in place, nobody wants to give him that kind of salary up front. For example, we look at a club like Manchester United. We know
Mm-hmm.
that now that they are missing out on the Champions League, many of their players are going to get pay cuts this summer because it's in their contract.
Mm-hmm.
Is Osimhen willing to accept a contract like that? So, okay, oh, if performance doesn't match up to what we're expecting, then we're going to slash 30%, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. Or, okay, we're expecting you are coming with the promise of scoring 20, 25 goals. If you don't hit these numbers, would you be willing to take a pay cut? If you exceed these numbers, we'll be able to give you a rise. All those kinds of negotiations are things that,
Mm-hmm.
based on what is in the media, I know that I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in the negotiation room. It just is being presented to us as if Victor is being strong-headed about it and is not
Mm-hmm.
willing to negotiate these different clauses and these different terms,
Mm-hmm.
which I hope that he is, because ultimately these are things that would help, for it to go smoother and for him to be able to get a transfer. But Elegbete said more. So let's get into another part of what he spoke about. And Smilai, when you were talking, you mentioned the fact of branding and negotiating a lot of other things into the contract. And
To point out something that
this was part of what was spoken about on this Elegbete's show. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Osimhen, I repeat, is not a bad player, but Osimhen is also not the superstar that a lot of people think he is. That's just the truth. If we want to spread this conversation and be as objective as we can, every European, and I was having this, I'm not going to mention his name now, his name is going to be withheld in this conversation. I was having a conversation with a very popular former player, and he said to me that, listen, I'm a Nigerian like you, my brother. Every European in the corridors where I walk, and he walks with the big heads, says that, what is the guarantee that Osimhen is 27? What is the guarantee that this is not his last rodeo? Who's going to give him a 5 years when probably he's 30, 32 in his real age? And then he comes in and then he's like another Eden Hazard that Real Madrid signed. Who's going to bear the burden of all of that? If you give him a 5 years contract and he's not performing, you can't terminate. You want to terminate, you give him the full sum of his contract. And then he comes from a country where there's not much disposable income. I think I was having that conversation with Colin Udo. There's not much. How many Nigerians will buy Osimhen merchandise in Nigeria? Will order? I'm not talking of knockdown, the one from Thailand or Timo. I'm talking from the club store. How many? Adidas, Nike is our national team sponsor. They don't sell our jersey in Nigeria because they know nobody will buy. So all of this at the business side, you also have to consider. When you put all that together, you will know. But like I say, the window is still long. If he's bold enough to turn that Alila, it means that there are conversations that are going on that we don't know about. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to knock him off completely, but I think that if I run his brand, that's what I would do. Bring down the gross to like 300, right? And then figure out a way to put incentive base that are high enough to compensate for it.
So again, he said a couple things here. The one that sparked the most outrage from people on social media, he said Osimhen is not the superstar that we think he is. Do you agree with that statement?
And that is one thing. That's why people say he's very bitter. And I won't lie to you. I don't want to use any insulting word on that, but he's appeared in your show several times, and on live, and he's a good friend of the house too. But for me, I think these are like not bad. These are bad things to come out from Elegbete. It's a guy that in his formative years, you interviewed him, respect you so much. I know that it's your opinion, though, but for me, I just think that if he doesn't rate Victor Osimhen, I say it here. I don't know where they bought Elegbete. Victor Osimhen is one of the best striker in the history of Nigeria.
No, but Smith Layi, let me just pause you there. He is not, when he's talking about that, he's not talking about Osimhen's ability on the field.
Uh-huh.
He's talking about superstardom, not how good a player he is.
Yeah.
Because that's why he was talking about branding, merchandising, all those things.
Yeah, but looking at how popular Victor Osimhen is even in Turkey, let me tell you something. Performance can even boost your brand and everything. You know that AyoT. When fans adore, you can go to any length. He was talking about who will buy Osimhen jersey. I think I heard about that. Who will buy Osimhen jersey? I think he mentioned that.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
So, do you know how many Galatasaray jersey they sold? Making that jersey was sold in Turkey. Is he Temu? Is he Abakaliki? The body gets it from. So he should talk about his own thing. I'm just trying to say it in a way that don't say that. Don't say that. As bad as Jackson is, they're still selling Jackson's jersey. So I'm just trying to say that it depends on performance can also increase all these things, AyoT. If he probably maybe employ you work on his brand more, all these things, na full package. It's okay, na full package. If they sign Victor Osimhen in Man United today, I can tell you that his jersey will be one of the best selling jerseys alongside Bruno Fernandes. I'm telling you. So he should talk about what he knows. Though he claims that he's the one that knows Victor Osimhen, or maybe that he born Victor Osimhen. But we're seeing that he is ability on the pitch, and even is popular. So for me, I think that it's a lie.
Okay. I think I have a fairly different view on this whole thing. When you say Victor Osimhen is not the superstar that we think or that he thinks he is, I think that's a very, very harsh statement to make about him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how big Victor Osimhen thinks he is or how much superstardom he thinks he has. But I'm trying to play devil's advocate, and maybe I see where he's coming from. So Osimhen will sell jerseys, no doubt about that,
Mm-hmm.
because he is that good,
And he will sell good amounts.
and he will sell a very good amount. And like you said, Smith, like if he keeps on scoring goals, he keeps on performing, more and more jerseys will be sold.
Even mask, everything.
Cole Palmer did not have a brand before he joined Chelsea,
Yes.
but he performed, and I can bet you, without seeing the numbers, that Cole Palmer is either number one or number two in terms of jerseys sold for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
I can bet you. And that is based on his performance. And with his performance came the celebration, came the whole brand, the whole cold Palmer brand that he has now, and the
Mm-hmm.
whole aura that is around him. It came from performance. So no doubt, if Osimhen joins a team like Chelsea or Man U or Arsenal or City or whatever, and he performs, those things will come along with it. The club that he is playing for, as long as it is a big enough and smart enough club, they will know how to market him and how to monetize the things around him.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes to how many Nigerians buy Nigeria jersey, I don't think it is that relevant in terms of whichever club that Victor Osimhen joins. Because let's be honest with ourselves, Chelsea has a million fans in Nigeria, but Chelsea as a football club, they're not marketing to the Nigerian audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could care less about the Nigerian audience if they are being honest. Um, Obviously, it is different when a team signs a player from like Korea. They know that yes, there are financial pluses that will come from signing the team like a player from Korea because those ones they have more money to spend. Or if you sign a Chinese player, for example, what people know that they get when they sign a Nigerian player, they get a lot of online support. That's what they know. When they sign a Nigerian player, they get online support. You get a lot of fans from Nigeria. They're not really looking at Nigeria from the financial part. That oh, if we sign a Nigerian player, we're going to benefit from people buying these things from Nigeria and things like that. So I think that the way he said it was a little bit harsh. But at the same time, I understand maybe the emotion that he has around the whole situation. And I think that it was something that was conveyed in one of the other things that he said later in his program, which I want us to touch on now. So I'll play one more video where I think he said something that, if I'm understanding him correctly, speaks more to what he was saying.
Osimhen, I repeat,
Sorry, let me just play the next video.
now if you look at Osimhen have always thrown people who's got his back under the bus. That's a story. That's a fact. Not be this. And then they cook this one up. His own is arrested his own sister and their husband. Is where's Ario? Where's Shira? Where is Coach Chinedu? Where is his first agent, his second agent? All the people. It's thrown people under the bus. Omar was once upon a time the voice of Osimhen, the guy who covers Osimhen from end to end, let everybody know what's going on the inside. Where's the relationship today? You think all the people are bad, only Osimhen be sent. So when I say these people jumping off for Osimhen, they will soon be thrown under the bus. I don't think that Osimhen will call these guys to say these things. But some of the people that are talking, it's like they don't even know what they are saying, or they don't even realize that some of the things that they are saying are destroying the player. Like Mikel Obi, for instance, that picked up a fight with Nicholas Jackson for no reason, just because he wants to sell Osimhen.
Yeah.
Ended up doing more damage to Osimhen because Chelsea priced him like pure water, and they stood by their Jackson. Now Odumodu Black have come again. Odumodu Black should have studied the tide. Nike sponsors Nigeria, give Nigeria the cheapest money that any brand is giving to any national team in the world. What make you think that same Nike would want to pick interest in a player that plays for Nigeria? My point is, what make you think this brand really wants you? Osimhen have 1.4 million followers on Twitter, which is a fantastic one. There is history of previous endorsement that is had that is not lived up to it. You see, the thing is, players think that everybody should be worshiping them. If you're a journalist, you must worship them. You cannot talk about the bad that they've done. We've heard of deals that he did not meet up to. The thing about the business suit, the business circle, these guys meet in certain meetings. These guys meet in certain places, and they take decisions that affect all of us. These companies don't have interest here. And then the small companies that are set up here, Owu Sports, Zenith Sports, cannot even lace the shoes of this guy. So, your first question you ask is, how many billboard have you seen Osimhen's face in Nigeria, his own home country? That's where it starts from. When you go to Dubai, as much as you will see the face of Pep Guardiola is more like the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi, right, of UAE. But you will also see their local players endorsed by some local brand like Ima and the rest of them. How many Nigerian products is using Osimhen as their face? Before Odumodu will call Barcelona out, call Nike, Adidas, Puma, and the rest out. Let's first talk about home front. Yeah, how many Nigerian products have done business with?
Okay, so Smilai, before I come to you, so what I said, I think he was trying to convey more about the superstar of Osimhen. I think comes down to what he was saying about how many billboards, how many endorsements, how many of those things are you seeing with Osimhen? And I think the reality of it is that it's not nice for us to hear, but these are things that are pertinent to ask. I've been to several countries. I don't know what it's like now in Charles de Gaulle Airport, but I remember landing in France before and going to the airport and seeing Kylian Mbappe plastered around as some of their other stars. You land in Nigeria, you see Wizkid, you see Tiwa Savage, you see Davido. I saw some people on on social media saying, well, the companies in Nigeria cannot afford Osimhen." That's not true. Let's be honest with ourselves. If they can sponsor Wizkid, Davido, Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy, or they can sponsor Victor Osimhen. Let's just be realistic with ourselves. The reality of it is that if you are looking at it from that point of view, you might say, well, he doesn't have that superstar dust that some of these celebrities and some of these global stars have. When you talk about him with a Nike endorsement, and everything, I think Osimhen is an Adidas superstar or an Adidas athlete. He wears Adidas boots. Does Adidas treat him the same way they treat some of their other global talent? No, they do not. Now, is this down to Osimhen just simply not being a superstar? Maybe. But I think the more pertinent thing here is, what is Osimhen doing to grow and to really market the brand that he's creating for himself? And I think that that is the part where I understand that Elegbete sounds very harsh, and it sounds like he's talking down on Osimhen a lot. But these are things that Osimhen has to think of, because the reality of it is that I've always said this thing: before you become a superstar abroad, you have to first of all be a superstar at home. If companies in Nigeria are not flocking for Victor Osimhen, it's going to be hard for companies abroad to flock for Victor Osimhen. Doesn't mean that he cannot get one or two interests, no, but I'm talking about flock. And when companies are flocking for you, that's when you become a superstar. As big as we like Osimhen from a football point of view, as big as we know he is, realistically, some of his numbers don't even match the skit makers that we talk about as if they are not serious sometimes, in terms of social media following, in terms of things like that. Brands work with these guys all the time. These guys sell products. These guys, people know that if they put money behind these people, they will get a bang for their buck. They will get a return on their investment. Osime, maybe there is no track record of those things happening. It does not mean that it is not possible for it to happen. I don't know, maybe Osime is getting deals and is the one saying, no, I don't want, no, I don't want, no, I'm not doing. But we're not seeing those things happen. And it is creating the impression that Osime's brand and Osime's star is not as large as it might be or as it should be. And for me, just from somebody that I work with athletes and I work with people on branding and I work with brands on trying to get athletes to work with them, I see the points there. And I think that Osimhen should do a better job of making his brand out there. Sometimes it is just the impression. Some of these celebrities will sign cheap deals just to give that illusion of being, endorsed, being sponsored, being marketed. Now, I'm not saying Osimhen should do that, but if we don't see you on billboards, like he said, if we don't see your posters, it doesn't create that visibility. It doesn't create that illusion of popularity. It doesn't create that illusion of fame. It doesn't create that illusion of star power. And this is something that I think was one of my core missions when I started the Ghost Track and I started working with athletes on their brands. Nigerian athletes, Nigerian footballers need to be as visible as the musicians, as the actors, as the entertainers. They need to be plastered around Nigeria. They need to be respected and looked at the same way we look at these people. Some people are saying, oh, he's bitter. I'm not going to go as far as saying, oh, he's bitter. I don't know what might have happened or what might not have happened behind the scenes with him and Osimhen. But I'm just trying to look at the substance of some of the things that he's saying. While he is sounding very, very harsh and sounding very reckless with some of the things that he's saying, I think the underlying point about the brand, I think these are things that are true. And somebody here is saying again about the affordability. I would 100% disagree that Osimhen cannot be afforded. He can't be afforded. Let's be realistic. No matter how much you think Osimhen is going to cost for an endorsement, he doesn't cost as much as Davido. He doesn't cost as much as Wizkid. He doesn't have their star yet. Let's be realistic. These guys are well known around the world far more than Victor Osimhen. That's just the truth. So
Right.
I disagree on that affordability part. But Smith, like, let me not ramble on too much. Go ahead.
I just have to drink from a different cup.
Okay.
Uh, for me, I think Whiskey, the Banana Boy, the video, they're in a complete world, different profession compared to Victor Osimhen. That's why you see a boy. What's his name again? The boy that was in trouble. Is he? No, no. Sorry, the boy that was my singing nonsense. I forgot his name. He used to. They are. Portable beat him in a contest. I forgot his name. Sorry. Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
don't know what you're talking about.
well, I guess I remember. I forgot. Those guys need to stay. They need you to talk about it on a regular basis. You have to talk about them on a regular basis. Bonner boy, you see those posters is strategic. You need to see them on a regular basis. They need to be in front of you like this. Any deal, they jump on it. They need to see you. You need to see you on a okay, on a regular basis. But I don't say the same things of Victor. Victor, first of all, is a professional footballer. That one need to be sorted very well first, even before any other thing can follow. The Ronaldo, the Ronaldo of the world, the Messi of this world, the Mbappe's of this world, you guys already made that. They are in a structure. They grow in a structured country. They've made that thing already. So even self, those things. I don't know how to put it, but let me just say it in this way. I think because, for example, now that only got sponsored by Dettol. Maybe because I only have been using Dettol since something was in Germany, and so on. So it got it. It might not even have any financial incentive that much, but because of this is his product, Taiwo actually picked on that deal and he did it. Victor might be different. If it's not worth it, he might not want to just take it up. Just because of the type of personality he is. And as we're talking about Iwobi, what about even Lukman? So I'm just saying that we can't kill this guy. I know we expect a lot from him, but all those things will keep on actually coming. I'm not really sure that I think it's only most betting companies that can really even afford it. Maybe he's not even into betting, and it's what he doesn't believe in. Why? Because some of his best guys, they are into betting now. Maybe P Square is a bet master. Maybe he's not doing gambling. P Square, P Square, and so on now. So you think that you don't have to look for one of these things to try and put his face there? But maybe probably against his own. Maybe he does not believe in that. So sometimes too, it can be deeper than what is actually on the surface. So if Victor Osimhen works into any company now, okay, get this deal. Do you think that Victor Osimhen will not be everywhere? Maybe he's principled in
No,
this particular area.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think that let's not make assumptions, excusing assumptions for him. See,
Yeah,
Osimhen cannot endorse a sports gambling company because an active footballer, for sure.
yeah.
But there are many other companies that he can work
Mm-hmm.
with. I don't want to say what I should not be saying publicly, but
Uh-huh.
Osimhen is not interested in deals. Maybe I say there's a part of it that is not that serious. This summer
Yeah,
that we're talking right now, I
yeah.
know a I know someone I wanted to work with, Victor Osimhen, that Osimhen's reaction and approach to the whole thing was not good at all. He was
Mm-hmm.
interested. He was interested. But when it came down to make it happen,
Mm-hmm.
he
Do you
he,
think that
he did not
maybe
he did not
the
he did
terms
not
and
come
conditions?
he did not come across as serious at all.
Do you
I
think you
know
saw
this.
something there?
See, I know, like there was nothing. Osimhen just did not come across as serious, and I know this for a fact because I was in the middle of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, again, I think it is a case of marketability. When you compare him to some of these entertainers that do anything to stay in the news,
Uh,
Osimhen should not and would not be doing that.
yeah.
But at the same time, Osimhen can still be more attractive and can still position himself more to work with these kinds of people. See,
Uh-huh.
our friend Olu was saying here that he sees more Iwobi ads in Nigeria than Victor Osimhen.
Mm-hmm.
Osimhen should have more visibility in Nigeria than Alex Iwobi, especially being someone that was from Nigeria, son of the soil, grew up
Mm-hmm.
there, started for us at the youth level. When we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Ademola Lookman, Ademola Lookman cannot or should not be endorsed at the stage of Osimhen as of today. Why? Ademola Lookman is just starting to try to build his reputation in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
We can see the effort, the conscious effort that Lookman is now making to connect with Nigeria. So
Mm-hmm.
we cannot be looking at and be judging both of them at the same level right now in terms of their presence and visibility in Nigeria. Those that watch football know who Lookman is. A lot of people that don't watch football probably don't know who Lookman is yet. So he's still trying to build that image. It's the same way Osimhen. A lot of people that watch, everybody that watches football will know who Osimhen is.
Mm-hmm.
And then some that don't watch football would also know who Osimhen is. But there are also some that would probably not know who Osimhen is if they just see his face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying he just needs to make more of a conscious effort. It is strategic. Yeah, I'm not asking you to go and be doing nonsense to trend. No, but it is a strategic, intentional positioning. You
Mm-hmm.
associate yourself with the right people in the right places. You
Mm-hmm.
put your image in the right places so that you are seen more, your visibility grows, your following grows, and then eventually these things come.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you will tell me Osimhen doesn't want endorsement. Obviously, not everyone is what he would take. Even me, I don't take every single person that comes and says they want to advertise or they want to work with me. So
Mm-hmm.
Osimhen at his level should have high standards. I agree. It should not
Mm-hmm.
take chicken change.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are things that you do for visibility. I know a Nigerian player. I won't mention a name. I won't mention who was involved in this deal. An opportunity came for a partnership. The player did not like the money too much, but he liked the visibility that was coming with it. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what this player did? He said, okay, this money is not bad now. He told the person that brokered the deal, told him to keep the money. But he took the deal because of the visibility and the opportunities that will come from it. That's a
Uh-huh.
strategy. Sometimes not everything that you do or that you take is all about the money. It is
Uh-huh.
about the brand that you are building
Uh-huh.
and where you are going to get to in the future.
Uh-huh.
See, I love Victor Osimhen so much, and I
Uh-huh.
believe that Osimhen has the potential to be a superstar, both on the field and off the field. But
Uh-huh.
the reality of this Milai is that the off the field part, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There is a lot of work that needs to be done, and if we make excuses for him and say, "Oh, it's because this, because this, because this, because that,"
Uh-huh.
maybe he might not get there because he might think, "Okay, well, these things are fair points." A lot of the things that he's doing. Osimhen, everywhere he goes, has a photographer following him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been intentional about certain things that he's doing already.
Uh-huh.
He cares about posting nice images on social media. He cares
Uh-huh.
about showing us that he dresses nice, that he flies private, that he
Uh-huh.
enjoys his life.
Uh-huh.
And those things are good, but not all of those things make people to connect with you more and love you more.
Uh-huh.
See, I do think that there is work that needs to be done. And for me, I'm just saying that when Elegbete talks about him being a superstar, I'm inclined to believe that that is more so what he's talking about. Because the biggest superstars in the world in any industry, they are popular and they also sell. Whether they sell their own things or they sell other people's things,
Yeah.
they sell.
Yeah, but I want to ask you a question. And it's a thing I've observed very well. When Victor Osimhen is not in the Super Eagles, when they play New York, one quarter of the pitch is full. But when you remember that Victor Osimhen is there, go and check the crowd. So, I think that I don't, you are into
So
branding.
like, see, that comes down to what we're saying about Victor Osimhen is a football superstar. But the
Yeah.
superstar that we're talking about, it has to transcend football.
Okay. Well, maybe
He has
maybe
to
you have a
transcend
point.
football
Yeah.
because, like, those that know football, those that like football, you cannot tell me you are a Nigerian that watches football. You don't know who Victor Osimhen is. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot believe that. But
Yeah.
it now has to go into the big brother people, the big brother Niger people, the ones that only care about music. How tapped in are they with Victor Osimhen? How visible is he to them? How much do they look at him as a star like that? Those are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that I'm talking about. Osimhen has conquered Nigerian football, but he
Mm-hmm.
now needs to pass Nigerian football. Look at the things that Alex Iwobi is doing, for example, even in the UK. He's going beyond the football circles. He's going into the music circles. He's going into the social circles. He's going into the entertainment circles. These are the things that make you into a superstar. Because I always say this about branding. If the only thing that we care about with you is your football. The moment your football is not at a high level again, we don't care about you. What else is there for us to like about you?
Mm-hmm.
What else is there for us to like about you? Obviously, you can build your brand enough within football that you can keep making money in football, forever. But the way Victor carries himself today, it doesn't look like somebody that will go into punditry when it's done. It doesn't look like somebody that would, go and stay in the football world.
But
When
you didn't expect that one from me, you know.
well, I guess you can say that. So anything is possible. You can always pivot.
Yeah.
But okay, let me quickly take some comments before we touch on another part of what Elegbete said. So Logistics Jeff says, if Fabrizio posts here we go for Osimhen tomorrow, it will be the most liked post on his X account. Isn't that superstar enough? Yes and no. That is superstar enough in terms of football clout because he's the most talked about striker in the world as of today. What would be superstar enough is if Fabrizio posts Victor Osimhen is selling this product. How much would that product sell? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, Mattel, the brand that sponsors the video, they publish some reports and they are now, I think, number one or number two in terms of fastest selling beverages in Nigeria since they've been working with the video. That is
Mm-hmm.
superstar power. That is superstar power. No
Mm-hmm.
matter how we want to look at it, like that is superstar power. Football is one thing, but the other things that you do outside of the football are part of what we're talking about when we're coming about talking about this superstar. There's a reason why Hublot will pay Kylian Mbappe millions of dollars to be the face of their brand because they know that people will buy Hublots because Kylian Mbappe is wearing a Hublot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're talking about. TC Gogo says one of Osimhen's journalist friend wanted to get him involved in gambling. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me see if there's any other comments for me to highlight here. Okay, no other comments. Okay, but in that video that we
So,
watched,
sorry, let me just
okay,
say, so the reason why he said no other comment is because it's not as if you are not commenting, but you are not commenting well.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that. There's no
Uh-huh.
other comments that is accompanied with a super chat. So that's why I'm not highlighting the other comments. But let me highlight comment from a member of the channel. Mo says IoT has spot on. I hope it wouldn't be too late and regret when he retires. Look at Beckham after football. And I know that sometimes when we look at these foreigners, some people will say, that's David Beckham now. But it wasn't David Beckham when he first started.
Uh-huh.
It is the work that he built to grow the brand to that level, strategic business moves, and other things like
Don't
that.
think that one was also based on the marriage and everything.
Based on what?
The marriage to
It helped. It helped. No doubt about it. It helped. Every little thing that you can capitalize on helped, or helps rather. It helped. Who you associate yourself. I'm not saying Osimhen should
maybe
drop his name.
we join this year
Aga,
with some big
aga.
brother
But see, who you associate yourself with helps. And this is
matters.
the
Yeah.
reason why sometimes when we're talking about these things, when I say, the people that our players associate with, are they really the ones? Do you get what I'm saying? Like sometimes when I say it, people say, you can't tell
Yeah.
anybody who to be friends with. I agree, I can't tell you who to be friends with.
Uh-huh.
But the people that you associate yourself with, they paint your image in a certain light. It's the
Yeah.
same way people don't take Boniface seriously because who does he hang out with? TikTokers. People don't take him seriously because of that.
Well, sorry, just one more question, AyoT. Do
Yeah.
you think that Pella is helping the brand of Boniface?
It is
He's
a
making to connect to
you
other
see,
fans.
it is a win-lose situation. Now, how much you win and how much you lose, I cannot quantify it because I don't have insights into everything. It's a win in the sense of that those TikTok people, because TikTok, there's a lot of people on TikTok, a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and there's money on TikTok, a lot as well. So
Mm-hmm.
those TikTok people is helping him to connect more with them. But for a footballer playing in Bayer Leverkusen, the kind of brand that he should be building, is Pella the kind of TikToker that he should be associating himself with? I don't necessarily think so. How much is he gaining from Pella as a brand? I don't necessarily think is a lot. If he's saying that he's going to associate himself with what's that this boy's name? That Kabilem or Kabilame, that most popular.
Yeah.
That's a different level of TikTok. Those people have transcended just jokes on TikTok. They've worked with brands, top companies, been in movies.
Mm-hmm.
If that's who you associate yourself with, oh, of course, of course. Nobody can doubt it about you. Like, but it's left, there's levels to this thing. Um, let me see. Okay, so let us also talk about something that Elegbete mentioned that a lot of people are not happy about. In terms of, oh, Shira has left him. This one has left him. He throws people under the bus. He does this. He does that. It's been like, what's your take on all that? On, oh, Osimhen uses and dumps people, quote unquote.
Sometimes you outgrow people. That's it. Sometimes the level of your success, some people cannot handle it. I can tell you. See, some people don't know. This is like a true life story. When you have a friend that you maybe probably grew up together and your success is now slightly what, more than what they expect, you can expect frictions in between, then other people will move on. There's this adage in my language that the 20 friends cannot play for 20 years.
Mm.
Yes, that is it. So, for example, now, do we know what happened between him and Omar Katuba? I know that you are privy to some of the information, but I cannot come here and say it here. So, Osimhen is not someone that will kiss and tell. No, sorry to using that phrase. So, he will not say, you just show the DM of one person and say, okay, this is it. To me, we saw a person that was abusing him, you know, at the VDM of Nigerian football. You know the VDM of Nigerian football. That was abusing him, saying he's stupid. It was because he didn't say yes to some of the things the guy showed us something do. So some things can happen. Just, don't be the boy where I know, hey, the boy don't betray me. So all these things, everybody just wants to leak, just want to. But I just believe that Victor should handle these things better. Because all these guys, they are so bitter. I saw the assembly that came to 35th life. If you see how bitter, in fact, I would say they are not even saying this. The way that lady was talking to his younger brother, I was surprised. So there's something that actually what happened that you have to just move on. So because we talk move on from okay, we should go and negotiate with Chelsea and me this thing. So we have to just look at it in a different angle. Don't just throw the boy under the bus. Maybe the boy don't see people working with him too again now. So in my own opinion, I just think that you cannot keep the same friend for 50 years. I know that it's possible sometimes if they add value to you, but friendship is about give and take. You cannot be my friend and not add value to me, and you expect me to be carrying your load for my life. It's not possible. You must offer something that okay, if this guy is not here, I might not be able to get this thing. You must offer that. You cannot be a parasite. Sorry to say, one of the so-called his friend, I don't want to mention the country. He chop finish. He can't talk, say one. I don't want to say the story, but let me just put it that way. Tell you the level of people that Victor Osimhen don't abandon. So I cannot blame him now for saying that he's not talking to some people again. Victor is a big player. He needs to move on.
This is what I would say. We were not privy to the reason why Osimhen is not relating with all of those people again. Who knows what might have happened? In terms of like agents, for example, I know that it will be better if a player can keep the same agent for a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, players change agents all the time for one reason or the other. Sometimes maybe your agent just cannot do what you need him to do for you anymore. Sometimes maybe you guys have a falling out and your interests don't align anymore. It's business. The person that was my first ever partner on Eagle Tracker is no longer working with me again.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. So I understand that. The one that I will speak to it as much as I can speak to without revealing any information. When you mention all those names and you mention Omar Katuba, see, I cannot lie to you. Victor made a very good decision distancing himself from Omar Katuba. Um, Unfortunately, I cannot say certain things, but as much as Victor helped Omar in terms of giving him clout, giving him relevance, helping him to make money by the relevance and clout that he gave him, Omar did not keep that same loyalty with Victor Osimhen. I can tell you guys here that 90% of the negative things that I know about Victor Osimhen came from Omar Akatuba. The same time that somebody is helping to put food in your on your plate, helping to put money in your pocket, You are going behind that person's back to talk negative about the person. If I tell you some of the things that Omar said about Victor, while he was close to Victor, not I'm not saying after, maybe now that he might not like him or anything like that. I'm saying while he was close to Victor, some of the things that he was telling people about Victor, the way he was describing Victor to people. If you guys were Victor, you would have asked him to cut Omar off a long time ago. And if somebody sends this to Omar and Omar thinks I'm lying, he can come and challenge. He can come and challenge it. I have receipts. I still have receipts of even conversations that I've had with Omar about Victor and the things that he has said about Victor. And not just said to me, said to many people. So on that one, no, I completely my expectation would be that one day Osimhen would have heard about the things that he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been like, bro, how can you be saying these things about me? Whether they are true or not. If you're my person, you don't be putting these things out in public.
Mm-hmm.
So that part I will say. And if that can happen with one person, that can happen with multiple people. We don't know what happened with the rest of the people. So for me, I don't take that as a point because I know one of them in particular and what that person was doing. And there was no reason for Osimhen to be aligned with that person. It's just that me, I did not go and cast because it's really not. If you tell me something about Osimhen, I have nothing with Osimhen, so I'm not going to go and tell him, oh, see what this person is saying about you. But eventually, I'm sure the news would have gotten to him, and that could have been part of the reason for their falling out. But in general, we've said this before. Some of the people that he associates himself with maybe are not the best of people to be associating himself with. Are not the best of people to be known to be. These are Osimhen's close confidants. For example, you call yourself a journalist. The same page that you're using to push Osimhen and give us Osimhen's breaking news is the same page that you're using to insult other players. It's the same page that you're using to talk about who has the biggest yash. It's the same page that you're using to do all sorts of crass things. When people look at that and say this is the guy that Osimhen is giving the information to, huh? Is that really the best person? Or even when we talk about maybe somebody like a VDM now, for example, a lot of people like VDM in Nigeria for the work that he does, calling out the government, standing up for people that cannot stand up for themselves. But there's also a lot of negative things that are attached to him and his name and his reputation and what he does. Is it the best person for you to be doing body to when you want to release information after you feel like your coach said some things that were wrong about you? Is that the best outlet, the best way for you to release information? Not really. So people look at things like that and say, huh, these are people that he associated himself to. And the one that was it TC Gogo or somebody or Logistics Jeff mentioned in their previous comments. Now, Puja, let's talk about it. Everybody knows that Puja is one of the close people to Victor Osimhen. Osimhen flew him to Napoli to come and celebrate title. I don't know if it was part of people that Osimhen flew to Istanbul as well, but we know that they are close.
Yeah, it was in Istanbul.
It was in Istanbul as well. Okay. We know that they are close. Osimhen helps him, you know, and gives him information and things like that. Now, this guy comes out and is posting gambling odds for Osimhen to remain in Galatasaray, join another European team, etc. And rightfully so, he got a lot of fire for it on social media. People were criticizing him. And unfortunately, that led to people also criticizing Victor Osimhen and the people that Osimhen hangs around and he gives his access and information to. Now, I've always said this. Puja is a very good photographer, very good photojournalist. But the way he carries himself on social media, we know that his currency is views. He doesn't use his social media page to talk football. He uses it to live his life like every regular person, post about any and everything that he cares about. And when people see that that kind of person is associated with Victor Osimhen, and then that person is now posting about gambling, and not just gambling in general, but gambling on Osimhen's future, it creates the wrongest image possible. Smith Layi is like imagine your younger brother is a footballer. You now gonna place 100,000 bets on his next transfer. Everybody will say that he has already given you the info.
Mm-hmm.
and you're just going there. Essentially, it's fraud. It's insider trading at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks bad on you as the brother. It looks bad on your brother as the player. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what's happening with Victor Osimhen. Puja might not know where Osimhen is going because Osimhen might not even know yet where he's going. But when somebody that is known to be that close to Osimhen
Mm-hmm.
is coming online to post gambling on Osimhen's this thing, it paints a very, very bad image. And it looks bad on him and it looks worse on Osimhen. And I know that Osimhen could not have told him to do something like that. He was just the one that wasn't smart enough to realize not to do it. But these are the reasons why we just say that, see, players, be careful who you give access to. Now, people can make mistakes. Based on one mistake, doesn't mean that you should cut somebody off completely. No, I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to speak to the people that you're around. If you are going to continue to be around me, you need to realize that you change the way you move. You do things differently. I'm the cash cow. I'm the one that is bringing in the fame, the money, and everything. You need to want to protect me.
Yeah.
You need to actively be trying to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same situation. It's the same way, like for example, I work with Rashida Tajibade. I know before 90% of the world what is happening in her career and in her life.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot come out and just throw things out there unless it's stuff that she's ready to put in the public.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, if I now hit Smith Layi up looking and say Smith Layi, she's joining Chelsea, you're going to put 100,000 everything. It's the same way. Before Taiwo joined Nottingham Forest, I knew he was joining Nottingham Forest. You think I could not have carried $5,000 and go and bet on Taiwo to join Nottingham Forest and go and make 20K? But you
Mm-hmm.
have to be smart. These are how people get uh, involved in all these gambling cases and things like that. Whereby maybe they've given somebody just some information and ask, okay, yeah, my guy, let me tell you what is happening in my life. Oh. And then that your guy goes and does something stupid and doesn't protect you.
Mm-hmm.
So on that part, I think Osimhen just needs to be more careful, be more selective with his crowd. I know that Osimhen is a boy from the streets. He wants to associate with everybody. He doesn't want to carry himself as if he's bigger than other people.
Mm-hmm.
But he just needs to be more careful. They need to protect him because he is the one that is bringing in the money, bringing in the relevance, bringing in the fame. Smilai, this whole situation with the gambling thing that Puja posted, as well as the way people talk about Osimhen Circle, what do you think?
I think there's less to add to what you discussed already because you put it up. So for me now, if I'm selling coconuts and you want to come and buy banana, I don't sell banana. But just the one where I get, it don't the egg don't bad small, cause come and take it. Because no, you can't what you cannot give, there's no you can't what you don't have, you can't give it. Osimhen Poja's job. Poja is not a reporter. Have you ever seen Poja talk before? So you cannot even. I know you're not journalist. You cannot even say that you are better communicate better than him. He cannot say he's reporting. He cannot say he's. What I know that he does well is to capture people, and he knows how to size the backside of this woman. Hey, this one, he knows that one very well. That is what he's famous for. No, he is not secret. AyoT. That is what a lot of people know him for. So that football way in the post, now just to shock up, is BB Nigeria. That's his season. BB Nigeria, hey, this one. That is his season. Forget about those ones. So for me, he doesn't really have enough. He's seen experience for. I don't think he should just throw the guy out directly. I know that the guy will be regretting it. And Victor Osimhen, the way they get angry, he's a tough guy. So for me, I think that Puja can still be in the circle, but he should make sure he delegates. Even the very dark man I'm talking about can never do such mistake. He can go and talk. Sometimes what I know about very dark man is that if there's not something, the man has questions. But I don't think Puja has your questions. That's why sometimes, if you are working with people like this, okay, I'm getting closer to Osimhen. What should I do around him? What should I not do around him? Maybe they are the one go and be talking about bed Niger on one podcast like that. I don't know. The one, hey, that's is it husband material normally coordinate. So I'm just trying to see that when you are around footballers like that, anything like betting, you must limit your involvement, because any small thing they will trace you. They will trace it. So for me, I think we actually was making a mistake. And secondly, talking about the people around him. You mentioned in particular, you mentioned people. We can give different examples. For example, now just about somebody that came to that first life say, "Oh, you should give my husband money. Or money where he work for, did he work for it? You know, what was the money for?" So you have to sometimes look at people that Victor are getting rid of. What they would do. Why do you think Victor actually wasn't there? Okay, I want to mention a character now for you. I have not mentioned the person's name. He go chop. You beg finish. You can't talk, say, make the restaurant people go collect money from one football player there. So, are you not a nuisance? So that type of person, you want Victor to keep a person around him? It's not possible. It's not possible. Character is like a smoke. No matter how you cover it, it will come out. It will come out. So all these people, when they show their character, Victor will get rid of them. That is it. So it's not as if I'm here to come and defend Victor. I'm doing a job for him. But what I'm just saying, what I'm just saying basically is that sometimes I don't like when a lot of people just throw the guy under the bus. What I'm happy about Victor is that he's doing well for Nigeria, and he should stay like that.
All right. Let's not harp on this too much, but I think we've spoken about a lot of different things. Um, there's some things that are being done right, and some things that are being done wrong. I just hope that everybody assesses the situation and does what is in the best interest of the player, which is Victor Osimhen. Because at the end of the day, Naim matter most for this situation. Okay, let's wrap up very quickly, Smilai, by talking about some comments that were made by the head of the sports ministry, Shehu Dikko, about our head coach Eric Chelle and about the decision that we're awaiting in terms of South Africa and their points deduction. I'll play the first video where he was talking about the what's it called? Where he was talking about the points deduction. Let me.
But the look of things is still in our hands. If we, based on the disciplinary issues, that's surely going to be decided very soon. If we win by if those disciplinary issues went the way everybody thinks it should go, because we too as Nigeria have suffered that fate when we use a player with 2 yellow cards. So if that happens, it means the next 4 games is still in our hands. We don't need to carry any calculator. Win your next 4 games and you qualify. If that's disciplinary
Are we
issues
going to
decided.
win? Because that's a political battle with sports, and we know this is South Africa we're dealing with. Are we
It
positioned?
doesn't matter. We have the best players in Africa. Everybody knows that, right? So
I'm talking about that
so
points
our
deduction
players-
that we're expecting to happen.
No. It's a rules are rules. It's not about Africa. It's FIFA. This is nothing to do with Africa or South Africa. Or rules are rules. If you do this, this is what happens. There is no excuse about it. There's not any 2 years about it. Otherwise, we can go and fill any player and claim error, claim we are forgotten. The rules are rules. It's not about the rules are self applicable. If you made that error, you made that error. So the only thing that will not happen is you confirm that they didn't do the error. But everybody knows they did the error. Even them, they admitted that they did the error. So
we're just waiting for
about the process, because normally take a process. Even the last time when Nigeria had that issue, it didn't happen immediately. They have to write you to explain why, what happened, what did you do. They must give you a chance to say your side of the story, to do at least for the process to happen.
But you know what I'm talking about. You've been in football long enough to know that with politics, 1 cannot be 1 + 1 isn't 2.
No, but the rules are rules. The rules is there. Rules is there. Otherwise, tomorrow you can go and play, win a player with a red card and play. So, but let's just leave that aside.
We'll see.
But the issue is that if that happens, it's in our hands.
Yeah.
We win the next 4 games. We are okay.
So it's like our sports minister is essentially saying that no, but everybody should forget about it, because a lot of people have been asking every week. People will ask you this question: what's happening with South Africa and the point deduction? Shehu Dikko has been in Nigerian football for a long time, and he's just saying, see, that the rules are the rules. It is only about the process. They just have to do due process, and they will have to write to you and say, what happened? Why did you break this rule? They will give an opportunity to respond. They will quote unquote investigate. But ultimately, as long as they made that mistake, they are going to get deducted the 3 points. So, Smith, do you have anything to say on that? On that one?
A lot of people have been asking the questions too, on live, why is it taking so long and everything. It's just that the rule is the rule. If there is no rule, there is no punishment. That is the rule. For example, now, why can't we go and build Ronaldo and play for Nigeria now? And say, we forgot. CAF didn't tell us. So the reason why it's taking so long is because Lesotho did not protest 24 hours after the game, 48 hours or 24 hours after the game. And secondly, too, it's very sensitive issue because I've been monitoring the whole thing too, because 2 weeks ago, the South African Parliament, called SAFA for a 5-hour discussion, and it was live, about what has been happening in South African football. So this issue of Mokoena, actually came up, and they discussed the issue extensively too. What happened? What happened? So what they said, Dan Jordan said, okay, in the pre-team meeting, we have the match commissioner, the referee, not the referee, not the match commissioner, the CAF official, FIFA official. None of them told them that Mokoena was suspended. Reminded them, but he told them after the Zimbabwe game. That was close to about 8 months ago. They didn't remind them. That was their excuse. That was their defense. And so that normally it happens in a pre-match meeting, they tell you. But the issue is this: CAF and FIFA, they organize different system. If a player is suspended in CAF, when you want to click on that player, like when you block something else, it will not click. But for FIFA, you are responsible to get your books. AyoT, you drive. The tickets where they give you, you don't collect good tickets. And you didn't pay for the ticket. No, that was the analogy they gave, when they were talking about the Cape Verde issue. You got tickets. And you talk, say, you have got 2 tickets. So, who is responsible to keep those 2 tickets? And I'm even hearing that in 2024, they reviewed the law that they might even punish the player. Because the player, too, is also responsible. You have to be responsible, too. Apart from SAFA, you must also be responsible. You have to be able to keep your own information, too. But the player is playing Champions League. The player is playing Netbank Cup. The player is playing PSL. How will he remember all these things? No. You must be responsible for your own thing too. So for me, I think the 3 point is gone. But South Africa, they are playing. They are trying to drag the whole thing because of this psychological advantage. They don't want to. It can affect their players when 3 point is gone. And I rewatched the Lesotho Zimbabwe game. The Lesotho against South Africa game today. And I saw the team manager responsible for this mistake. He was smiling, enjoying himself in the director's box. I was like, are you sure South Africa doesn't need to perform like internal investigation on this issue? So for me, I think it's a pity. I don't like us to get points through the boardroom or qualify through the boardroom. But my brother, the law is the law. We won't suffer it, and I'm sorry, South Africa have to lose those 3 points. In fact, it's even lost because they told them already we are just trying to appeal and try to simulate their defense. That's all.
All right. So I hope that clears it up for anybody that was wondering. Very quickly, let's take one more comment from Shehu Dikko. This time was on Eric Chelle, talking about the Super Eagles head coach, Eric Chelle.
Did we make a mistake employing Eric Chelle?
No, I think everybody is saying if we have had this guy earlier, probably we would not have been in the place where we are. Remember, Eric Chelle came in at the time when already the team had drifted as part of the qualification. Yeah. It's already a difficult situation. 4 games played with only how many points? I think
is it
3?
Yeah, 3 points.
3 draws, one loss. So 4 games played with only 3 points. So out of 12, you have got only 3 points. Like Shell came in, the first match we play, everybody sees the focus. This is where we are going. When Rwanda, the second match against Zimbabwe, everybody knew that day was just not our day. Nothing to do with the coach or what have you. We could have scored 10, 15 goals that day. 42 plays we did in the 18 box. We got the goal, and last minute we gave them the equalizer. It's painful football, but at least okay. Eric Chelle did 2 games and get 4 points. The last before him, we have done 4 games and got only 3 points. That's some progress.
So Smilai, the sports commissioner, sports minister, whichever one we choose to call him, he's saying that the Super Eagles have made progress under Coach Eric Chelle
Yeah.
and that we did not make a mistake hiring him. I'm going to attach this to recent comments that have also been made by our legend, Sunday Olise,
Hmm.
talking about he doesn't want a foreigner to coach the Super Eagles and things like that. But those that employed him are still backing him up. Do you think that it is right for us to say that we made the right decision employing Eric Shaw?
Yeah, there's no better. One, he was the best candidate then, but not popular. You know that in Nigeria, we worship white skin, a lot. When you see somebody, even if it's a shoemaker in Europe, when it comes to Nigeria, it's still someone that, oh, he's an expatriate. But for me, I think Eric Chelle will take all the boxes because experience in Africa and also a young man, yeah, very, very good. So for me, I don't think we make any mistake employing Eric Chelle. No, I'm big on Eric Chelle, but because we want to insult me too much, that's why I just try and limit, how I praise Eric Chelle. If you watch football very well, for example, now I watched the Nigerian and Zimbabwe game. I've watched it 15 times, 15 to 16, 15 to 20 times.
Hmm.
So if you can, I can tell you when I watch it down, I can tell you the next action. I can tell you what he was trying to do. So Shehu Dikko was right. Things just didn't click that day. There's some players that should not be there that played. So and in the Unity Cup and the Russian games, I realized that he's going to be changing his options. So for me, I think it's not a mistake. See, Super Eagles is not difficult to coach. You just need to manage the ego in the dressing room and also be tactically what good. I will not say. I will say something now. A player say that out of the national team, we know they play under different coaches. Say this man sabi pass any of them. Say some coaches will just be on touchline saying nothing. I don't want to mention their name now. Saying nothing. But Eric Chelle is reminding you of the information and everything. So they just need for things to actually to work their way. So for me, I think it's not a mistake. I think we should respect the choice of the NFF now and pray for him to succeed. If Eric Chelle qualified Nigeria for the World Cup, which I think he's going to do, he will put more food on the table, AyoT, because he will make more money. That is it. If Nigeria wins AFCON next December, he will make more money. So let's support this man. We have tried the Guavon before. We got the worst ever result in 2021 and 2022 when we lost in the second round for worst result for 40 years. So we've tried different managers. We've tried it before. He ran away in the middle of the night and ran away. Say he's not coaching again in the middle of qualification. So let's just focus on this man. Pray for him and he's gonna actually do well.
Hmm. All right, all right, all right. That's where we'll wrap up the conversation for today. The link has been posted. We'll take a couple calls before we end today's conversation. It's been a lot
Two,
of talk.
so ring bell for them.
Yeah, it's been a lot of talk already. But I appreciate everyone that has stuck with us and has engaged
Yeah,
throughout the program. In
yeah.
the last couple minutes, please still feel free to leave a super chat that supports the channel and supports the work that we do.
Super thanks to
Super thanks,
everybody.
even if you are watching on replay. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you to those that have been supporting so far, the likes of TC Gogo and Jeff, Logistics Jeff, Emmanuel, Adedotun, Auntie. Much, much appreciated. Everyone else, please support the channel, support, support, support. Okay, let's take a couple callers very quickly. I'll start with Temitope just because I know Temitope no dey waste time. But yes, welcome Temitope.
Hello,
Yes,
good evening, guys. How are you doing today?
yes, we
Yeah,
can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Go on.
Mr. Smith, I like your spec. Your strike too much today.
thank
Good
you.
one, nice one. Let's go to the thanks about Osimhen and Elegbete. So Elegbete is still bitter. Bitter. The way you talk about Osimhen, there's way you criticize someone consistently, not the hard way. Osimhen still have a bad thing. I agree. Just be that moving. Those guys, those friends moving as police teammates. That's what it's about transfer. Transfer is different from the issue. So I think about the family, about the throw out the boss. I don't talk about that. They do if they don't do bad thing, you don't throw out the boss. Oma you're talking about Oma is not wrong. Oma will not say that. You know come back and talk about Osimhen in a good day when Osimhen is dead the La Liga. If Osimhen is wrong, Oma will not say I respect Osimhen. You don't respect Osimhen again after the issue. So that's about that. About the sport minister's comment. I like that comment. That one knows that that one knows football very well. Not about the other one that about the former sport minister, the policeman, the officer. They are about fighting coaching. That man knows football. And for that time, they go postponing at them. They have lost 3 points. Just get about a point, get a point against Rwanda and then start up and contact for that. So, for man, they make a good choice by going to anywhere. Go to saying it, go to Juventus or go stay in Galatasaray. Don't come to Chelsea. Don't come to EPL. There is spoil your career in EPL. That's it. Thank you. Good
Thank you
evening.
very much,
Bye bye.
Temitope. Thank you very much.
Nice and brief.
Yeah, nice. Temitope believes that Elegbete is bitter.
Yeah, everybody thinks that it's bitter. That's why
Okay.
it's the comments.
Uh,
So
let me take Humbleary. Humbleary, welcome.
AyoT, I greet you all, Smith Layi. I greet you all. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
we
we
can hear
can.
you.
Yes, yes. Don't worry, I will come and pay my tithe. I've not been buying super chat or something else.
Yeah,
I will pay my
you're owing 5 months tight at this point.
definitely I will pay, no problem. I will pay. AyoT, I want to ask a question, right?
Okay.
Does Osimhen have an endorsement to any company?
Not that I'm aware of. He might have. I don't know. I think Adidas probably sponsors his boots.
Okay, because what I'm seeing online said that a record-breaking partnership with Nissan is overjoyed with the outcome of their deal with Osimhen,
With Nissan.
right? Yes, I think in Turkey. Also, what I'm also seeing is that I think he had maybe one or two brand. Yes, Victor Osimhen has endorsement deals with both Nissan and Ukaki in Turkey,
Hmm.
and the endorsement was on November 2024. Maybe if you Google it, it's online. I don't know. Maybe you know that's the kind of person Osimhen is for me. And if you are trying to work with somebody, know the person's temperament, knows what he wants and what he does not want. And Elegbete, maybe Osimhen has blocked him. I think so.
yes, so
Yeah,
that's
Osimhen
lucky.
has blocked him. Yes, and if not because of God, I would have cursed him. Why
Yeah.
should I? Not because of Osimhen, but look at this. I hate people that put two people together and block their head. Shina have not come
Magma.
out to say,
Yeah.
yes, have not come out to say that Osimhen has offended him.
Hmm.
Uh, Oma have not come out, but though he might be going one place to another telling them. And all these people talking about these things. And Osimhen is disassociating themselves from them. We tell you that they have done Osimhen something. Osimhen will not talk. They'll be the one going out to talk about it, to make Osimhen to look bad. For example, his family member he locked. If I am the one, I will even lock my family members. Yes. I told my family, if I give you money to do something and you eat it, I will lock you. You don't know what I suffer to get the money. That's why I don't bring my family member in my business.
But
I bring
homeboy,
outsider. Yes.
the headline will be Pastor Lock family member up.
I don't care about
How
it. That one is none of my. I don't care. I told them that is why I don't do business. If I want to do business, I do it with outsider. And if I want to do business with outsiders, we sign. So that if you break it, I lock you on, and you have to pay it. You have to be disciplined. You have to be responsible. Now, concerning about Oma going, I think he's even coming back again, saying Osimhen, I respect Osimhen for not taking the deal from Saudi Arabia. Good luck. Maybe have realized his mistake. That one aside. Now, concerning about Osimhen, if you look at Osimhen, he doesn't care about money. Let's be honest to ourselves. When you watch the game that he played with Boniface, he wants to play. He knows that money will come for him. He will not chase the money. He knows what he wants. That is why I like his spirituality. I like his discipline. If Osimhen wants something endorsement in Nigeria, the first person will be Amaju Pinnick. That would be the first person. But he knows what he wants. So for me, I like the way he do his things. So far as he come to the pitch and perform very well and do very well, I am so happy about it. Any person going out, Nigerians don't want you to be submissive. You have to be under me. You have to be loyal to me. All the people that you have been working with, why are you chasing them away? Smith is saying it. Level. There's a place that Obi can never be a boy all the time. He has outgrown. There's a level of respect, level of integrity he have already placed himself. Life move on. I brought 12 people here in America. Should I ask them to come and be under me? No. Go. Progress. I don't want you to come under me. I don't want to work with you again. You're putting enough.
Hope say no be people where eyes go carry you.
No, that one is their business. So far as they have already they have their green card. They are good enough. They are good enough. Yeah. So that guy, I know that people will be after him, and my problem, he does not care. He keep on moving. Then another thing is concerned about Coach Eric Chelle and the Sunday listen. I am so disappointed that the people that will think they are knowledgeable are not knowledgeable enough. Yes, it might be your personal opinion, but your personal opinion needs to be evaluated. I don't care. I don't care. You have been abroad. Then you enter one club, they will sack you. And you are the one advising. Tell me what you have done since you left. Eric Chelle is better than Siasia at the moment right now. Amunike at the moment right now. Iguavon at the moment right now. None of them want to improve. Let them go outside Nigeria and get a job. Somalia is there. Lower countries in Africa is there. Go and be coached there. None of them want to go. They want to sit and don't want to grab. And they are not improving. And they are not helping. Why is it that his Coach Eric will be the one going outside the country and be telling the people born abroad to come and play for Nigeria? It's a disgrace. Iguavon is there smoking weed and doing nonsense. If I see him, I will embarrass him.
Humphrey, no matter.
No, I would tell him that you, as a person, you want a foreigner coming telling people in Nigeria, come and play for your content.
The same person they smoke this thing.
Yeah, of course. I does not. Yes, of course. I said it. Let him come and prison.
One man. Sorry, I won't bore you. When he came to talk on the Rice TV, he said somebody is behaving like woman. Said, it's your opinion. It's your opinion.
Because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's a technical advisor. The job that Eric is doing is what he's supposed to be doing. What is he doing in Abuja? Toby, Tosi. If Eric Chelle was the one talking to Tosi, by now Tosi would have been in Nigeria playing for Nigeria. But he will just go and come back, just go and begin to talk diplomacy. It will be unfair for Iheanacho to be dropped. And who told you? That is the entitlement we are talking about. I am pissed off because they don't want Nigeria to grow. They don't care about it. They don't want Nigeria to grow. Everybody, all eyes is on Osimhen. Osimhen. Why can't you do your own thing? I rest my case. I don't want to go more because it's so painful that that man from Mali is doing what they're supposed to do. It's a disgrace.
Okay.
It's a disgrace. I rest my case.
All right. Thank you very much, Ogweri. Ogweri, your emotions are high. But thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Let me, Uche, so I don't even know where you want to start from.
The mic is very, very hot right now. I don't know if I can
Go.
carry it. So okay, for me, I'll start with Osimhen's Osimhen and Elegbete. I think I even had I also like on Twitter because he posted some stuff on Twitter. I was like, people are running, attacking me. So on Twitter, I spoke to him. I think I chatted with him, and then he was bringing up other stories. I told him like, leave Osimhen's family matter. This is the family matter is none of your concern. Your concern should be about, okay, like when he mentioned some other facts he mentioned, I understood what he was saying about the branding, about his age and stuff. That made sense. You're 27. There are certain things you can't get, and okay, what kind of club are you going to based on the club structure of how they pay their wages? Understood that, but when he said, should I say, going off point, discussing about his family, I was like, that does not concern you. It's none of your business. And I told him like, you're sounding like you are bitter. You're sounding like you are very, very bitter, like he did something to you. Then you bring in Mikel again. Then I found out that, okay, it looks like even Mikel has an issue with you. So it's like you are bringing people into the whole scene. Like, mind your business. These are Nigerian footballers. What has Elegbete done for Nigerian football compared to what Mikel has done for Nigerian football? So these are actually the things you should be discussing about, not discussing about someone's family matter. Then in regards to Eric Chelle and what Olise said, I think that 1994, I think this current Super Eagles, what they need to do is achieve what 1994 did not achieve, like get to the quarterfinal of the World Cup, win the Nations Cup, win or even get to the semi-final of the World Cup. Do something so that this topic of them being the best and they'll be going around feeling like they are Superman, like they are the savior, they are the ones. Yeah, you guys did something marvelous for us, but can you let us breathe? Can you let the next generation function? After all, Mikel won Nations Cup. After all, Mikel Set also got to the second round of the World Cup. So what special thing have you done? But Mikel has gone ahead, has moved on. He's not discussing about what he did in the past. Like, he's moving ahead. He's getting pundit gigs, even interviewing names that you will be like, wow, you really have this clout.
So, sorry, let me just say something.
Yeah.
Mikel have been selected as a pundit for FIFA World Cup, Club World Cup. He's currently working with Channel 5 in the UK.
And if you notice, there was this interview he did on TalkSport. When he was done with it, like the interviewer was the presenter there said, like, yo, like, looks like if I want to sell anything, I should just come to Mikel and sell it. Because he was selling the FIFA World Cup properly. So he's moved ahead. He's trying as much as possible to get Osimhen, telling Osimhen, okay, those are the kind of people that Osimhen would listen to. Not you, not you coming here and bad-mouthing an African. This is what we want. We want Africans to be able to work anywhere in Africa. Like, whether it's a Malian working in Ghana, now that he's working for Nigeria, it's a good thing for us. No longer we are trying to get the Portuguese or get one of these journeymen. But right now he's young and we're using this. So it will not be more inspiration for other countries to also employ African coaches, which is also good for us. So I don't know why he's putting it out there, and then China Steve will keep bringing on this kind of people. Like, we're trying to make our football go to a beautiful place. So there's no need for you to call these people in and they start speaking bad about this person. It's a project. Let's see how far he goes with the project.
So
So
before she leaves, let me just ask you a question.
yeah.
If Elegbete starts praising Osimhen in that podcast, do you think he will get that view?
No. He wouldn't get that. I noticed he likes. He himself said it. He said he likes taking the tough position. Like most times, that's how he learned his journalism. Like he would debate on things that you will be look at. He will go, but rather than going right, he will go left, just to make sure that he beefs up or get more topics to debate about. So I think he likes that cloud, where everybody everywhere is noisy for him. But at the same time, because of it's somebody's career, is the biggest export of Nigerian football. There's not been any, the last time we had this kind of player was Mikel, I'm sorry to say. So right now that we have this one, let's protect it, let's advise this talent and tell him to make the better decision, not bad mouthing him. Like when he spoke about like his age and why he needs to drop his what's the name, his wage. Cool. Even when they asked for coach, our coach was like, if you want to play for the best team, you need to reduce your wage right now because of the structure, because of the fair play. Cool. Those are the information you should talk about. Not going out and talking about he arrested his sister, he used DSS to arrest his sister. It's nobody's business. Everyone, he's not the first person that's had a family issue. So you should not be bringing out that because you want to trend. So that's what
All
I
right.
feel in this
Thank
situation.
you very much, Uche. I appreciate your contribution on this.
No problem.
All right. Buki, over to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Buki.
He is having connection issue.
Yeah, it seems like he's having connection issues. Okay. We have to go in a bit,
Okay.
so Mr. Buki, we might have to take you next week.
Yeah.
Final two, we'll take Uche, rather Charles and Olu. Welcome, guys.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, guys.
Good, very
So,
well.
about the what's it called? About the Elegbete and Osimhen. I've always been so skeptical about that guy. The way he does his stuff, I don't really like it. Like every time you're always controversial. Like, don't you learn? Don't you keep your mouth shut? Why would you talk about somebody else's family for crying out loud? That is so not cool. That is honest. That's so not cool. You going around talking about people's family, trying to give this different opinion. I used to take him seriously, no doubt about it, when he first started. But when he started singing different tunes, started changing and changing. You see, that's why I value this channel, this Eagles tracker, Gang Football, because I love what you and Smith Layi are doing. You and Smith Layi, you guys are always true to the call, no matter what. I really appreciate that. That's professionalism. And that's John. I don't know
We
if
are
you
not
know.
breaking that up.
It's journalism integrity. You
Wait,
know,
now I've been reached under the bridge journalism.
not because it tells so much, like this is how bad journalism can be in Nigeria. I mean, some of them need education. They need how to taught how to do their job, because you cannot be going around talking about people's family. Also, about this Eric Chelle Sunday Lise, I don't know why this 1994 set they keep getting involved in this Super Eagles. They need to be breeded out. Only the good ones. The Minanos, the Sheyi Olofijana, the Kochas, Kanu, those ones, we need to take them. The bad ones, beat them out. Why would you go on television and say you don't like Chell? What has Chell done to you? Egavon, took over from AFCON. You saw what he did. Okay, fine, he got 9 points. Look at what he did in Tunisia. That was the first time Nigeria was leaving round of 16. Never happened before. They gave him the World Cup qualifiers. For over 180 match, we could not score from open play. And you said he's the best manager. Come on. That is so. And you gave it to Finidi. And the thing is, this Nigerian, out of them, they are so relaxed. I don't know why. You should not be relaxed. See, the only coach I respect in that space is Amunike. Amunike is always educating himself every time. These ones are so relaxed. They'll be so relaxed. Amunike is always, and you saw what Amunike did with them on that 17. Osimhen said how he won and he made a record. I don't know why. I feel like this current set of Eagles, they should do something amazing. Maybe go to the finals or semi-finals. Can they do that? Obviously, yes. They have the talent. And I love this Chell because Chell is so passionate. I don't think I've seen any African coach this passionate. I might be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen this kind of coach. Maybe Keshi, but not like this. You know, give him your full support. When Pesero was taking charge, he did not say anything. When Ron was taking charge, he did not say anything. Now this man, why? Why would you say that? Your fellow African man. What if he qualifies for the World Cup? What will you not say? I don't like this. Like they need to learn how to mind their business. Focus on your future. The past is gone. Focus on. And I think he's part of the FIFA board, technical board director or something. And you're saying all this is so not fair. No, I don't. I don't agree with him.
All right. Thank you very much, Charles. I appreciate your contribution this
No
evening. Thank
problem.
you.
No problem.
All right. And then we'll wrap up. Olu, the floor is yours.
My favorite people. Thanks for having me. I think first of all, I just want to give you guys your flowers, man. Fantastic episode. I've been listening in and enjoying all the chats. That's why I've been commenting every 2 seconds.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
shout out to you guys, man. Just fantastic. First of all, on what Charles said, I agree with him about these bitter people. I think it's a very Nigerian syndrome we have. People not knowing the right way to speak or to say things. Even the same Olise that is talking does not have Belgian citizenship. If you now go and say, if you talk about Belgium, you now say you don't want non-Nigerians managing the national team. And I love what Smith Layi said about what we've seen from Eric Chelle so far. Even being opportune to go watch the games against Ghana and Jamaica here in London, you can see like just a bit of a difference in terms of the approach or even just the care for the national team. This is a man that clearly takes the job seriously, and I think we need to give him the time to do what he needs to do while also understanding the precarious position he's been put in. For him to even for him to have even accepted the job with the 4 games already played, with Finidi and Pesero's mess ups, I think we have to give him his chance and just see how he does. We know what he did with Mali, with the little things we did, and we can already see some offshoots in terms of the Super Eagles, even from the friendly games. Resurgence of the Chukwuezes, for example, almost the Simon or Bloody Nick Sans Uche, for example. Obviously, we need to get better defensively. I think one of my biggest grips is us conceding goals in all these friendly games. You can argue that, we haven't had the most settled back for, especially with Bassey and I not being there. But when you still look at some of the goals we conceded, Jamaica, we dominated the game. We still conceded 2 goals from 2 shots. Same thing with Ghana, so that's my biggest worry. But I don't agree with all the nonsense we hear in terms of, oh, you must give it to a Nigerian coach, this one, that one. Like, what have they done with the opportunities they've been given? Is Fidini not Nigerian? He's not the one that put us in the predicament we're in. At least Pesero, we can even give him small pass for AFCON and good defensive, solidity. So I think honestly I agree about minding the business. On the Osimhen situation, I think I echo a lot of the sentiments you've all mentioned. It'll be interesting to see where it ends up moving this summer. I was personally glad he didn't end up in Saudi, but let's see what still happens because I think there's still a weird, like, sinister looking down on Osimhen's capabilities. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but in this England, it feels a bit weird, like this whole wage demands talk. Because I'm sorry, if you're a star player, you demand big star wages, and I've never seen them talk about players' wages so often, apart from maybe what's this boy, Nico Williams. But even Nico Williams, there's no, oh my God, we're not going to pay the wages. It's more, oh, he's paid a lot. Let's see how we can balance with the release clause. But I think Osimhen, we have to then talk about either his brand management, because with everything he's done in Europe so far, we should not be getting these kind of reports. You know, when you're seeing the Athletic or the Onstein's report about his wage demands, it just makes me very angry. Because what do you mean? Like, even the way he's just perceived, oh, he's a money grabber. That's it's so funny how now that he's turned on Al Hilal, the reporting has changed slightly. Oh, all of a sudden he's not a greedy player that just wants money. He cares about his legacy. So I think it's quite interesting to see, you know. But I think from the outside, I'm not knowing much. The one grip I have is his management. You know, if he had a management team with the interstellar groups or the George Mendes groups of the world or whatever, I'm not sure we'll be seeing this kind of reporting about him. And then to see like English clubs that know they clearly need him. I mean, even me as an Arsenal fan, Osimhen is better than Gyökeres and Sesko. I'm sorry. Forget Nigerian bias. But for some reason, you're not seeing these kind of talks. I don't know if it's the way he moves or whatever it is.
Olu, sorry, let me just interrupt you quickly. I think so. When you talk about things like that, see, for me, that's what I look at. With the right people around you, you learn how to control the narrative. And I
Absolutely.
think that that's something that Osimhen and his people have not done at all. Control the
I
narrative around
agree.
his transfer. And then
I
the
agree.
people, going back to what we're saying about people that he gives access and information to, if Bucci's idea of controlling the narrative is by coming on Twitter to insult everybody that is criticizing Osimhen,
Yeah.
like that does not help you in any way because you come, all of you are stupid. You're talking now about your Nigerian like this. Oh, you don't know what you're saying. If only you actually knew. Like that's not how you control the narrative.
Absolutely. And to be fair, we're all on the same page, guys. I think like even depending on where we live or whatever the thing is, like when a star player moves. And it's so funny how you keep preaching to these players about the importance of PR or managing their brand, but you can only bring a horse to a well. You can't make it drink, if that makes sense. And it's so interesting to see the lack of understanding of positioning, because someone like Usime, I will maintain we have not had a talent this good since the Kanus and Okochas of the world. We have a player on our hands who could surpass even the achievements of these guys if he could win an AFCON. And of course, he has to make the World Cup. But it's quite interesting to see the positioning. One thing I will say, though, is with the clubs he's played for, we also have to admit that even playing for Napoli, look, we all watch Syria. Juventus are the Man United of Syria, followed by Inter and AC Milan. Napoli will get you brand visibility, but Napoli have only won their fourth title in their history, literally this summer. And then you go to Galatasaray. While we've all been speaking about his exploits in Galatasaray, we have to also admit the Turkish league is not one of the top 10 leagues in Europe. You're not going to be as visible as we think you are. It's all well and good us seeing all these Turkish clips of how passionate they are. But bro, they are passionate for a reason. It's not based on visibility of the Turkish league, you know. So I think depending on the moves he makes this summer, we will see those endorsements or those things come. If Osimhen goes to the Premier League, for example, all of a sudden everything changes. I hope he does not continue rolling with these certain people because I even passed the Lay Lounge the other day. I know the pitfall of this London. You can easily get sucked in, you know. So it's an interesting one to monitor, but I think ultimately everything about Osimhen will be based on the next move he makes club wise, where he ends up playing. Does he get this visibility? So even though I know Galatasaray love him, I hope even if he doesn't come to the Prem, go to a Juventus, go to a PSG. Let's see you in the top leagues and top environments as your talent deserves. And then also we cannot discount national team performance. We saw what Osimhen did in the last AFCON. We have AFCON coming in December again. If Osimhen delivers in the AFCON again, he will get the right visibility he needs. And we come back to this Eric Chelle discussion and the World Cup. Nigeria have 4 games. I don't care how good you have a player, unless you're Erling Haaland. How you perform for your country matters for your brand. Is your country going to the World Cup? If you go to the World Cup, all of a sudden, even Nike, the way they're excited about making Nigeria kits will change. We're still the only country in Africa they sponsor for a reason, you know. So I think those things, depending on the next 12 months, will say a lot about what Osimhen got. Because if he comes to London, he does well in London. He will not be begging anybody for brand deals. They will be rushing him, you know. But if Nigeria missed that World Cup, guys, I was even doing one task recently, looking at 2030 World Cup. We're in the midst of a golden generation, and if we miss this 2026 World Cup, we only have ourselves to blame. But we see with this Mokwena situation, we have to win our 4 games. I like the fact that Eric Chelle has experimented and brought certain players to the squad, especially Kusams Uche. We've seen our Kodari and Ciro Desert show at least what they could do if Osimhen is not playing. Simon and Chukwueze will be feeling a bit better about themselves than the national team. Oyedika's back in the team. Oyeka's back in the team. So we have semblance of what we need to do to deliver. But I think a lot of these things we're saying about Osimhen will come naturally, depending on the club moves he makes and how he performs for the national team. And then finally, just to end with Eric Chelle, please, any enemies, get behind me, man. Like, this man has been put in Wahala to even sort out the national team. So everything we get is a benefit and a bonus, and we take it from there. Looking forward to the games. Let's see what we can do. We have a few more months to go. But I think in general, a lot of this noise will quiet down as long as we perform. One thing I love about football, just like music, we can debate, we can gist, we can talk about all these things, but how you perform on the pitch is ultimately still the power that will move your brand and the country. So let's see how the summer goes, and let's see how our players perform in the summer. Sorry about my lighting, by the way, but fantastic work, and thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you very much, Olu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that has been Olu from the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. Check out his channel on YouTube as well, or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that stuff. Good friend of the house. And I'll still have Olu on one of my videos that I want to work on. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Man, it's been a long conversation. We've spoken about a lot. I know Smith Layi said he's staying up to watch Odochi Ogwelu. So
I wanted to sleep before that one, so that's if it's 1 hour, yeah.
But yeah, it's been a nice conversation. I know that whenever things about like someone like a Victor Osimhen comes up, this whole transfer issue, a lot of people always have a lot to say. So I appreciate every single person that has engaged with us. Very interesting one. If you haven't liked the video, guys, please make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe so that you can enjoy more content. Not only do we do this podcast, we have interviews, games, debates, and so much more. Sometimes we come in peace, sometimes we come in violence. But you would miss it if you're not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you do that. If you enjoy what we do and you have the means, $1, $10, $100, £100, please make sure you leave a super chat, or if you're watching on replay, leave a super thanks. It's a little way that you can show support for the channel and for the work that we do, and to keep and for us to keep on making content, because video editors, graphic designers, content creators, everything, it all costs money. So please support however you can with a super chat, with a super thanks. Every amount matters, even if it's 1,000 naira. Every little helps towards the cause. Is tiny drops that help to make an ocean. Thank you very much for that one as well. A lot of people always say, AyoT, why don't you travel for this match? Why don't you travel for that match? As if they are giving me private jets to travel. If I want to buy tickets, all those things cost money. So please, guys, support the channel however you can. Before we go today, we have another ET Ranks video that is coming up this week. So let me just show you guys the trailer for that video, and hopefully you guys get a little bit excited about what is to come. ET Ranks, if I can just find that video very quickly.
I was so good that they named me twice, JJ. My love from him just dropped that match against Ghana in London.
Looking at the names to actually.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to restart it properly.
I was so good that they named me twice, JJ. My love from him just dropped that match against Ghana in London.
Looking at the names to actually what have you, I will not put Victor Osimhen in the World Cup.
I'm going to have to put the great Haribo West in category. So you're shaking your head, so that means you disagree with me.
I'm sorry, that's disrespectful.
On this episode of ET Ranks, we are going to be ranking the top 20 best and greatest Nigerian footballers of all time.
AyoT, I will disagree with you 100%. Because putting the king number 5 is a sin to Nigerian football.
Are we talking based on sentiment or based on facts and figures?
Talking based on facts.
Everything.
You are committing the sin.
Yes, fine. Yakini is number 5. The greatest Nigerian player of all time. 3, 2, 1. That one was a fiery episode.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
Very, very interesting episode. Um, we've given you a little bit of spoiler, but when the video is out on Friday, guys, make sure you watch it on the channel. Ranking the top 20 greatest Nigerian footballers of all time. I also have the week after that, or maybe 2 weeks after that, I'm interviewing Coach Randy Wardrum, former coach of the Super Falcons. We're going to be talking about everything that happened during his time as the head coach, what has happened since he quit the job. You guys know that Randy Wardrum likes to talk, so hopefully that day I bath with the right soap so that he gives me all the information and he just opens up, But that should be a very interesting one. If you have any question that you want me to ask Coach Randy Wardrum after this video, you can leave it in the comments and I'll try to take the best ones. It will depend on time and how much time we have to actually talk. But my next interview is going to be with Coach Randy Wardrum, former head coach of the Super Falcons. So watch out for that. It's going to be very interesting. That is more reason why you need to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And of course, we said ET ranks video. That one is coming on Friday, and then we take it from there. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a long one. It is over here. It is 7:48 p.m. and I'm yet to have any meal today, so I also need to go and find food to put in my belly.
Yeah.
Smith Layi, thank you for sticking with us, even though we know it's very late or very
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
in
It's
your
okay.
case, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Like final word from me before we go.
Yeah. Standard edition was fantastic. It's just for us to keep on, supporting the national team manager. And I think that, guys, keep on liking the video, subscribing, and also too, I know that some of you, you can still leave super thanks too. Okay, if you want to ask and wardrobe question, ask it with super thanks. Well, thank you for actually joining. Yeah, I really
Thank you
enjoyed it.
very much, guys, man. It's been a pleasure. As
Yeah,
always, my name is AyoT. My co-host is
like thank you guys for
this
joining.
is the Naija FC podcast. Bye bye, guys. See you on the
Thank you.
next.